Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's Monday morning, and it's December. And the Raptors made it through December with a 12-3 record for the month. And that's really kind of good, guys. Really. I mean, we could focus on the 2-game losing streak we're on right now, or we could talk about how we had one of our most successful months as a team in recent years. Seriously. So, I mean, that's what I want to talk about in some ways. 19-3 between both teams, the G League team and the Raptors. 19-3 for the month of November 2025. That's fantastic. I would have loved to have gotten through the whole month with just the one loss to the Sixers. But alas, the NBA had a second draft game scheduled for us last night. And it's no coincidence that two division rivals are two back-to-back road second games on a road back-to-back this month. That is by design. That game last night, along with the Philadelphia game earlier this month, was penciled in when I saw the schedule as losses, that they were scheduling these losses for us. Now, I'm not going to say that the refs helped the Knicks because they earned that win last night. They had a good game last night. And, in some ways, I was impressed with the Knicks last night. I think that Mike Brown has carried over the best stuff from Thibodeau and what they were doing last year. And he's done the improvement of lessening the starters' minutes. So Knicks fans should be very pleased with what's happening with Mike Brown so far. But alas, still, there were a couple of things that really messed up the Raptors last night. And, well, it just is what it is. We got to play them the first time. And somebody was saying on the Discord, it was Mike, I believe, saying we're rope-a-doping them, give them a win on their home court, make them feel good. And when we play them in the next game here in Toronto on our court, where they have a 3-5 road record so far this year, the Knicks, we beat them for the game that really matters, the in-season tournament knockout round quarterfinals in Toronto on the 9th at Scotiabank Arena. So, yeah, we didn't play our best hand. They did not start Jakob, which I was, wondering about. Why are we playing Jakob on Saturday and not on Sunday? Well, I kind of thought about it more, and I agree with Darko doing this. And the reason why is because Kalkbrenner is more of a true center and more of kind of an issue, like as far as a big guy. Cat plays outside. Doesn't really play like a center. And also in the past, Scotty has done a really good job of guarding Cat. So I kind of agree with the decision they made to do this, because not only does it give Scott the opportunity to guard Cat, it gives Jakob a rest day on the day, and we don't show our best team at all towards the Knicks. They can go ahead and get a false sense of pride and security about playing us by routing us last night, because they did rout us. But they did not see us with Yak or RJ. And I know we didn't see them with OG, but the difference is a lot different when we have Pirtle. Let's just say that. And they did utilize a double center lineup late to really beat up on us when they had Mitchell Robinson and Cat out there at the same time. So, yeah, it was a difficult game to watch. The beginning of the game was tough with the hot shooting of Deuce McBride and Jordan Clarkson after that. And then, the referees were interesting. There was a lot of not calling anything. Kevin Scott and his crew very much letting them play physical and letting them play without getting a lot of fouls called. And I don't disagree with that. I think that sometimes is a very good way to call the game. It's just that the ref manipulation is, just in case the game is close, is you play with no whistle, and then all of a sudden you start blowing the whistle at the late in the game when the game's close. And that would have been what they might have tried done to try and help the Knicks win, is no calling any whistles the whole entire game. And then in like the last quarter, all of a sudden the whistles tighten up all of a sudden magically. That's the ref manipulation plan that they had last night. Alas, they didn't need it, because the Knicks beat us just straight up. And that was the backup plan. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, there were some bright spots. Obviously, Colin Murray-Boyle's fantastic last night, and he is my star of the game. And there were a couple other things about that game last night that I liked. There's some things I didn't like for sure too. So yeah, we'll get into the reaction stream. Of course, it is reaction, so the phone line is open to members of the channel. And also, I do have to set you up for a G League game tonight in Long Island. The 905 playing their 8th game of the season against the Long Island Nets tonight. So I have a ref report for that and all the other stuff, the Instagram stories, Raptors Reddit reactions, and the straight goods on goods is coming up too. But we'll start with Trevor J with his words of wisdom right now. I appreciate everybody being with me here on a Monday morning. Yeah, we're going to talk about this. And Knicks fans, if you want to come in here and talk to us, I'll talk to you. Yeah, as long as you're, as long as you're mature. How about that? Trevor saying this: you always win when you always win when you're through life with. You're always win when you through life with authenticity. That's not the right sentence structure. Okay, you always win when you go through life. Maybe that's what he meant. He missed a word. You always win when you go through life with authenticity, honesty, love, and a grateful heart. I like that. Yeah, being an authentic person is important. And in fact, authenticity is going to be a very treasured commodity going into the future. There's so much inauthenticity. There's so much artificial that's coming that in some ways people will be more attracted to people like me. They're just real instead of like an AI bot or a chat bot or some sort of bullshit. The artificial stuff's going to get annoying. And there's going to be a backlash, and there's going to be a newfound respect and love for human mistakes and just human authenticity going forward. And that's going to be a really interesting phenomenon to see because it's coming, guys. They're going to put all this crazy artificial crap on us, and there's going to be so much this fake that we're going to value and love real so much. But yeah, the other thing about being authentic is if you're authentically yourself and you're honest, and you're grateful and you have a love in your heart, is you don't really have to make up a house of cards of lies and remember all the different things that you're lying about every which way. If you're just pure and true as you, that's it. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. I love it, man. Authenticity. It's a commodity that's going to be scarce and very valuable in the future, guys. Watch. It will be. Yeah, and people that can be authentically authentic will be much more treasured than you think, guys. Trevor J saying this, the Garden last night, because Trevor was at the game last night. Thank you for going to the game tonight, Trevor. And the game last night and seeing the Raptors at Madison Square Garden last night. I appreciate you going in there and being in there for the Raptors. The Garden last night, fans were acting like they won the NBA championship because they beat the Raptors. Yeah, I mean, that was a very lively atmosphere. Lots of celebrities there. It was bright lights, big city, Madison Square Garden. And that is a tough place to play. And, well, we have a young team. And I really do feel like some of the Raptors were starstruck and maybe a little bit caught in the bright lights. We have a fairly young team overall. And I think that, one of the ways you can tell this is happening is the missed free throws. Seriously. I know Brandon was missing free throws, which was annoying, and he's a 10-year vet, and he shouldn't be. But the young guys missed some free throws too. Colin Murray Boyles. It's tough because it's a different environment than the normal NBA arena and game. And in some ways, well, hello, this is the big show. Welcome, Chucky Hepburn, making his NBA debut last night. Welcome. This is Madison Square Garden. This is tough. This is hard. And this is the bright lights of the big stage. And there's to a degree, there's some of that in what happened last night. A little bit of deer in headlights. Like, this is huge. Look at this. Look at this. There's Spike Lee. There's Ben Stiller. There's Michael J. Fox, your turncoat. All right, let me keep going in the chat. Yeah, they can get all crazy like that. Go ahead. That actually means a lot that they're cheering and celebrating that they beat us, and they feel like that's accomplished. That's great. That's great. The Knicks have a 9-game winning streak against us right now. We haven't beat them in a couple years. Well, let's break that streak on a game that matters the most here in Toronto, Scotiabank Arena, and our crowd better come correct and really, really support the team right on December the 9th. That game is so important, so important. And if we beat the Knicks on that game, it'll make up for the 9-game losing streak the last few years against them. Seriously, right now, that's what I'm saying. Trevor's saying this. Ingram is having a hard time. They're building walls around him. Well, last night is specifically one guy that really messed him up, and that's Bridges. Mikal Bridges is an excellent defensive player. He really, really is. Excellent defensive player. And he really locked up Brandon good. Now, not to mention, since Brandon hit that game winner against Indiana, he has not been playing right. He's been missing more shots than making. And I don't know what's going on with him right now. He was very ass last night. That was the word I was describing him. You playing like ass. He missed his first 5 shots. He's shooting every other free throw in. I'm like, what's going on with you, bro? Why are you so off right now? In some ways, we need to recognize if Brandon's a little bit not right, that we need to kind of lean into other people sooner. Because, in some ways I'll say this, Brandon, you gotta not let down. If you're a Raptor guy, you got to go 48 minutes every single game, 82 games a season. You can't let down. This isn't the Pelicans anymore. You can't come in and show up and have a glory week and then kind of half-ass it for the next few games. You can't do this because you have to play all out. And whether it's not closing out on Con Knipple right, whether it's kind of lackadaisical just on offense and kind of taking your time. No, man, it's go time. And, you got to do it like RJ. RJ is very going to it and direct and forceful. And in some ways, sometimes I feel like you're a little lackadaisical with your approach. And I get it. Sometimes that's how you lull them to sleep, slim sleeper. But we need you to get it tightened up. And if you don't do it on offense and miss shots, that's fine. You're going to miss shots sometimes. You damn for sure better be playing all out on the other end, though, with defense. Because that's the Raptor way. And you pledged to play the way that your teammates do and be on that level with us. Because honestly, man, you hurt us the most this game last night, Brandon. You did. You hurt us by missing all your shots and ruining our shooting confidence as a team overall, and also not playing well on defense at all and allowing the other team to just run circles around us. So maybe a little bit of time in the mirror today, Brandon Ingram, please. Just a little bit of time in the mirror, just looking at yourself for a second and saying, what am I doing? You were hurt last year and you didn't get to play. You're getting to play this year. Let's not squander it. Let's take it very seriously and honor it the way it should be honored, is what I'm saying, Brandon. I know everybody goes up and down in different biorhythms, but, some of the things that happening that are coming off of you that aren't good are not just you're hurting our shooting confidence as a team overall. You're also playing a little selfishly. And then some of the other guys start playing selfish too. And we don't have the passing system we normally do and more of an isolation, lazy system going on. So, yeah, we got our first call of the day. Let's see. Hang on. Let me get the speakerphone on. And the phones have been weird. I'm just going to say, the phone's not been working in here. Seymour, I don't know why this is not turning on. Turn on speakerphone. Speakerphone. It won't let me put the speakerphone on for some reason. Hang on. I think part of it is my phone doesn't work. Yeah, Seymour, try again in just a little bit. This hotel is like a bunker. It's like it doesn't get any cell phone reception. Adriana's been trying to call me and she can't. It's just really crazy. So I don't know. We'll try again in just a little bit. I'd love to get the 4 quarters with Seymour Pape still. But the phone's been failing calls, just so you know. All right, let me keep going in the chat. Trevor's saying missing Yak and RJ was very important to see with those 2 players off the floor. They are crucial to our offense. Yeah, Yak, in some ways, we could have gotten away without having Yak last night. In some ways, that helps with the rebounding. I mean, yeah, I guess I should shut up. That's not true. The offensive rebounds for the Knicks were absolutely killing us. And Yak he would help clean that up. And that's some ways that's where we missed Yak up. There were a couple of plays where we played really good defense on the Knicks and they got a second chance shot and then they made a shot after that. It sucks. I hate that. That's been something that's happened a lot this year where we play really good defense, but nobody takes care of the rebound at the end of the possession. And there's another offensive possession for them in the same possession and boom, they shoot and they get it. It's so much hard work. There'll even be ones where we'll play really good defense. We'll hold them off from scoring on one shot. They get an offensive rebound. We hold them off on that shot. They get a second offensive rebound, and then they make the third shot. That kind of stuff's got to stop. These guys got to take care of the ball and go get it and stop screwing around. Go get the ball from them. And the one thing I know about last night was the refs weren't calling nothing, so it could be extra physical. And in some ways, that's by design because the Knicks thrive with a physical kind of scrappy, we're going to come and hit you and grab the ball from you and gritty kind of stuff. Well, we do too. But the difference is in that bright lights, big city where we're shook and we're not totally as comfortable as they are on their home court. Well, we're not playing exactly our identity like that. Like, Darko said on Open Gym at training camp in Calgary, I want you to give the other teams hell. I want you to put them in hell. I want you to go after them and get after them. Some ways that play style works with what Kevin Scott and Trey Maddox were calling last night. But the Knicks have it more down in their own house. And some of our guys are young and not as aggressive and a little bit scared. I'm not scared, but just starstruck in that environment. They're not playing as aggressive as they could. Honestly, they could be going after them way more harder with the way they didn't even have their whistles in their hands anywhere for a while for the first 3 quarters of this game. So that's what I was thinking. It's like, well, if it's going to be like this, Raptors, go all out, get on them and just get physical with them. Because this is the way the refs are allowing to play today. Now, RJ was damn for sure missed last night. And we figured out, like in the chat on Discord last night, that Brandon's struggles are very tied to RJ's absence. That, the first couple of games that RJ missed, Brandon took over and he got almost 40 points on Monday last week. And then he had the game winner against Indiana. Those are great performances, and he carried, and he kind of was taking over RJ's chunk of the production. But in some ways, that's not totally sustainable. And also, that's something we shouldn't be doing because we want balance. But I think with RJ not around, the balance of going every other possession, like RJ, Brandon, stuff like that, was helping to balance things and not make it such a hard load for Ingram. And, well, it doesn't work when you do Brandon IQ. And I don't know why we don't do Brandon Scotty, because that seems like that would really work. But alas, I feel like with RJ's great cutting, RJ's very strong driving, that Brandon is hurting for this. He needs this around him to take some of the pressure off him defensively so that he can thrive and hit his shots easier. So, yeah, we need RJ back. And I really hope he's back for the next game against the Knicks because we're playing the Knicks in this knockout game. We get a 5-game series with them this season, which is fun. We already played them 4 times because they're division, but we have to play them in an in-season tournament. That means we get 5 games against them in the regular season. So that's kind of fun. That means which team's going to win 3 out of the 5? Well, they've got 1 already. And the Raptors have to win 3 out of the next 4 to win this series. We could treat it like a playoff series stretched out over the whole entire season because it's crazy. Each one of the games against the Knicks is in a different month of the season. We play them in November, December, January, March, and April, which is kind of crazy if you think about it, because there was a complaint that, well, we were bunching up all the games against one team in like one part of the season and then not seeing them at all. So we'll get to test the waters with the Knicks all year long because we're going to come visit them and they'll visit us 5 of the months of the season at different times. So it'll be very interesting to see how the season series with New York goes as the whole year goes by. I feel real good about us. And, well, New York fans, you go ahead and feel good about last night and celebrate like you won something. That's right. I like that. Yeah, let's see. Trevor J saying this. Grady is going through something. He's not shooting good at all. There's a couple problems right now. Like, I think that this is something we saw with Jamison too last night. Of course, Jamison Battle got the start, which was a very interesting idea, starting Jamison, still starting Jacoby in there. But I think Jamison, much like Grady, has put on more arm muscle. And their shots are a little weird. Like you saw Jamison's not shooting well either when he gets like starter time. So it's like everybody's saying, oh, Jamison needs to play more. This is what I was arguing. Let's not overplay him because he may start shooting badly. And then we're like, it's kind of like keep him potent, keep him sharp as a weapon off the bench. And, overplaying him will dull him out. It's just like you use a knife. You use that knife too much, you're going to dull the blade. It won't be as sharp. So in some ways, that's kind of why I was looking at as Jamison as a specialist and not necessarily like an everyday game guy or like a lot of minutes guy. You want him to be fresh and confident and be like, yeah, this is what I do. I'm coming out here and I'm doing this. You start him and he doesn't do jack shit. And he ends up starting the game just ceremonially, but he really doesn't play most of the game until garbage time at the end. And it's really that doesn't help his confidence, guys. So that's why I say it's a fickle thing about like how you use your dudes. And if you overuse them and they start playing bad, then you can hurt players' confidence. So I wanted to guard Jamison Battle as a specialist and not dull his weapon, is what I'm saying. Now, Grady is interesting right now. Grady had a couple bright spots last night. He wasn't absolutely horrible. There was a steal and a layup he made against 2 Knicks where they were defending him, and he was very successful at converting that layup, even though it was very difficult. He had a Knick in front of him and a Knick behind him, and it was a 1-on-2 break. Well, we have trouble sometimes doing a 2-on-1 break against another team. Well, he did a 1-on-2 break, and he was successful laying it up. I have to give him credit for that. And there were a couple other things he did scrappy. But, yeah, Grady, I don't know. You could say a lot of them are going through things. I wouldn't single out Grady, Trevor. I'd say Jacoby. I'd say Oshai, and I'd say Grady too, and even Jamison. So it's like, yeah, don't just pick on Grady. He's going through something. Well, the whole bench is going through something, and the confidence isn't right. And once again, I'll say this. The Raptors weren't playing the way they're supposed to play last night. We didn't see a lot of passing all over the place. We saw way more isolation and a little bit of too much, I'm going to hold the ball and call my own number and not get other teammates involved. And that is not Raptors basketball. And these guys got to check themselves on this. And the 2 guys that were most guilty of this are Ingram and Quickly. They've got to start distributing more. In fact, at times in the game last night, I was saying, Emmanuel, play point guard, please. Play point guard. Because in some ways, it's your duty as the point guard, to get other guys going and get them involved. It's your duty at the beginning of the game, Quickly, to get the ball to Battle for an easy 3 so he can get going. That is part of your job, Emmanuel. Or Scotty. Scotty, you want to do it? If you can find him as the center, playing a little bit of Jokic style, y'all needed to find Jamison and help him. And also Grady. Yeah, when he gets in. And Jacoby. I'm seeing too much of freezing guys out. In fact, I've seen you, Emmanuel, avoiding passing the ball to certain guys, and I don't like this. I don't like this trend. You know, you need to go to these guys. If it's partly because you don't have confidence in them to execute, well, that's not fucking helping anything. I won't pass it to so-and-so because I don't think they'll successfully get it, and I'll pass it or I'll hold it myself. I'll pass it to somebody else I trust, but I'll just keep it myself. No, we're doing that too much right now, guys. And y'all need to get back to being unselfish, and y'all need to read the court better as to where the ball needs to go to beat the defense. Because some of y'all are trying to beat the defense going head on by yourself in isolation when you have a teammate nearby that's wide open and you should be getting them the ball. So there's way too much of this kind of shit going on last night. And that's not Raptors basketball. That's not the way we've been winning so far this year, guys. So don't do that shit now. Don't do that shit now. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Kaloy's here. Good morning, Lex and Freaks. This is still a very young team. They need games like this to grow. Yeah, the bright lights, the big city. Well, welcome to the NBA, Colin Murray Boyles, my number 1 star of the game last night. He was definitely a badass. But you know what? He wasn't perfect. He made rookie mistakes too, bad fouls and a bad turnover, didn't catch the ball here. You know, stuff like that still happening with Colin. But he was the star of the game for me. And it really was the board work, man. Board man will get paid, Colin Murray Boyles. I'll say that. Board man will get paid. All right, I was going to start doing the stars, but let me see if I can get Infamous on the phone. It's not letting me do speakerphone for some reason. Why not? Why can't I hit speaker? Y'all, I guess I can't do calls today because, there it goes. All right, hang on, Infamous. Sorry, I just finally got the phone to turn on. So I think I got you on here. Are you there?
Yeah, I hear you. You're
okay, good. Clear. Yeah, the phone connectivity is really bad here right now. So hopefully this will go.
Understandable. I won't keep you too long.
So what I was thinking, Infamous, you want to do the Infamous 6? I say you get 6 minutes. How about that instead of 6 topics?
Yeah, that's what I said the last time.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do 6 topics or okay, so you want to do the Infamous 6. So all right, you got it. Yeah. Let's go. Infamous 6. Here we go.
First of all, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm sick, actually. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm congested and I'm not well, and I'm considering canceling my dentist appointment tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I
That's
hope you
all
get well.
right.
I hope you get well soon.
It's just how it
Okay.
goes, you know. It's just the sniffles and kind of congestion. So, but either way, let's get to it. Infamous, how do you feel about the game last night?
Okay, yeah, I got some key points that might help ease a little bit of Raptors' jitterness, or cheer them up a little bit.
You're trying to bring them down easy. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. So the first question, actually, the first one I want to start off with, I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't listening earlier. So why do you think that they decided to go with Battle at the start?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it's really kind of look at the lineup for the Knicks. The Knicks is a weird lineup. They really don't have two bigs. They have Cat, and then they have like a bunch of guard forwards, right? With Hart at power forward. So I think that, first of all, one of the reasons is Battle didn't play against the Hornets. So he was completely fresh as a player. And that's part of the reason why I was just now saying quickly, go find Battle, because he didn't play at all. He shouldn't be tired. He should have fresh legs, and let's get him going. Like I said, I think because of the lineup, they had a 2-point guard lineup with McBride and Brunson, and then they've got Mikhail and Josh at the forwards. Those aren't big, huge guards. So, you know, Scotty on Cat, and Jameson's the power forward in that lineup, and he can line up. It's just a lineup because the Knicks have a weird lineup, is basically what it is.
I think, my opinion, I think they were testing him. I think they were testing him to see what they got, because I think a lot of these guys, they're testing to see what they got. So when it comes down to Darko's trying to see, hey, who can I depend on in certain situations? Let me throw them out there in the fire and see what they're made of. So when I need to pull this card later on in the future, I see what I got.
I think it was more like this in some ways. I think it's that Jameson's not an every game player, and they had to pick somebody to start, and he felt like giving him a confidence boost and say, you know what, you're going to get to start tonight in Madison Square Garden. He hadn't got to start yet this year, and he did start games last year. But I think that's part of it. That kind of, you know, Battle's been kind of in that.
You're breaking up again.
Well, even if you can't hear me right now, the phone's really bad. Just so you know, Battle and Mobo are kind of in the same category right now, and in some ways, he wanted to throw a bone to James.
Let me quickly maybe go clear up after. I'll go to my next point.
Okay.
The Knicks. The one thing I did notice about the game last night, the Knicks were definitely prepared for us. They scouted us very well.
Yep.
And what they did basically is that they used what is our greatest weapon against us.
Yes.
They did everything that we did, and they just did it a little bit better last night. So
specifically Brandon.
Sorry, go ahead.
Specifically Brandon. That was the whole epicenter. They used him against us.
Yeah, it's breaking up.
The phone's really bad here. I mean, in some ways, I don't know if I'll be able to use the phone on this show. I'll let you go ahead and just do your spiel.
Oh yeah. Okay. So my next point is that the Knicks were prepared, and they were definitely trying to send a message. Now the thing is, for example, Yak may have been taken out of that game. They may not have used Yak for that game for strategic reasons for the in-season cup game.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't pick up on that. Here's the thing. Darko's very intelligent, and he may not want to show his hands. A lot of teams do this where they don't want to show their hands.
Yes.
So it is a possibility that Yak was not used in that game for scouting reasons.
Sure.
So they couldn't say, okay, this is their lineup with Yak in, let's prepare for this. And again, OG was out on the other side too. So it may have been for strategic reasons, but also we got to think, like, the Charlotte game was supposed to be our win, and this was supposed to be the scheduled loss.
Yeah.
So that could be the other thing too, in a way.
Yeah.
I know we don't like to say scheduled loss because you want to respect your competition. But yeah, that Charlotte game we got screwed in, which should have been our win, and this was probably going to be our loss.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we wouldn't feel so bad about New York if we'd won the Charlotte game, for sure. And you're exactly right. I mean, when I say it's a scheduled loss, I mean the NBA has scheduled the season the way it is to try and make us lose, and that's really kind of what it is. Is New York stays and plays Milwaukee, and then comes back and has a day off, and we're in Charlotte the night before, and then we're coming to New York. I don't want to make excuses. I'm just stating facts that, like, the NBA, this is fishy because they did this against us with the first game against the Sixers too.
With Philly. Yeah, with the Sixers.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my next point is getting to Brandon. I don't know if you picked up on this, but what teams are starting to do is I don't know if Darko is changing his game. They're starting to speed him up.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that he's playing a lot faster and quicker. You remember in the first couple games when he was playing very methodical.
Right.
Like his decisions were very methodical.
Yeah.
Slow it down, kind of like lure you to sleep with the dribbles. Yeah. But now he's going quicker. They're speeding him up. He's going faster off the pick and rolls.
I think you couple that with what you're saying with crowding. They're really crowding him. Like, he's such a long-limbed guy, and he likes a lot of room to operate. And he has tried to go between defenders to try and make shots through the lane and stuff like that. And, in some ways, he's the kind of player that doesn't do well in a physical game where they don't call whistles, because he's skinny and he's not as strong, and he's not going to finish through that. And he needs the respect of the refs to get the line to get some of his points at the free throw line. So in some ways, the game wasn't suited to him, and the Knicks did a really good job of trapping him. And I think another thing that teams are doing different all of a sudden on Brandon is they're coming at him at different angles to cut off his vision to pass out of the double team.
Right. You remember how sometimes how the Raptors do their double team, or they'll send the double team. So they'll send the double team to your blind spot.
Right.
So by the time you try to do the spin around, Jacoby Walters
exactly
jump in there and steal the ball.
Yes.
That's what they were doing to us. That's why I said that everything that we do to other teams, the Knicks copied that and did it back to us.
To a degree, but they did it in their own style in the way they've done it.
Yeah, they did it in their own style.
And we've got to give them credit. This has been part of their persona for years now. I mean, I'm not going to say they're copycatting us. Knicks fans, if you're watching me, I won't say that.
Yeah. But I noticed what they're doing with Brandon is that they're not allowing him space. They're not allowing him to get his dribbles off and put the ball down. So immediately as he catches the ball, boom, double team right there. We got you.
And to me, that's fixable, because Brandon just needs to read everything a little bit faster and be more quick. The other thing before I let you go, Infamous, I've noticed that one of the things the Raptors did really well during their win streak was when they're in their offense, they don't wait to make assists or passes. Sometimes, teams will just like what they were doing was that when the pass presents itself, they go right there. And it doesn't matter if it's early in the shot clock. It just is like, if the pass presents itself, like the great opportunity, you take it right then because you see it. In some ways, what they're doing right now that's not working is they're holding the ball too long, and then they're getting in trouble at the end of the shot clock, and then they're trying to make the pass. What they need to do is go look for that pass and execute that pass as soon as they see it. Make that pass early instead of waiting to do it late. And I feel like that's a big difference, and something that they're doing just slightly different in the last couple games compared to when they were being successful. So
that's an excellent, brilliant point. Excellent point. And the one thing that what other teams are starting to do now, and I picked up on, especially in the Knicks game, they're really starting to scout our push ahead. Like when we grab the rebound and we throw the ball ahead to a lead guy, leaking out.
Yeah,
they're scouting that now. So a lot of teams are preparing for that now. So they'll send the extra defender down the road, down the court to disrupt that.
We're much better doing it. We're much better doing it when RJ's in the lineup. That's another factor.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like we're much better doing it. Like one play in particular that you're talking about, Shed had the ball and he tried to force a pass to Grady up court. But I noticed when Jamal came in the game last night, he was way over aggressive than he needed to be. I liked the basket he made immediately when he came in the game, aggressively driving to the hoop. But I didn't like how he was forcing stuff otherwise in his first stint in the game. And that pass to Grady where he tried to go on the home run ball instead of passing it up to Quick on the side where he tried to get it all in one shot. That was a big mistake. And in some ways, there's a little bit of over-aggression on trying to push the ball up the court and not being smart about it. Not everybody can do these football passes that Scott does up court like that. And in some ways, it's not an easy pass. Yeah. All right, Infamous. I appreciate your call today, man.
Oh, one last point. Just to reassure Raptors fans. Again, we didn't have RJ in the lineup, right?
Yeah.
And this team Darko is going to take this information. It's going to be well scouted. He's going to take this information, sit around with his coaches, and figure out a game plan. Because again, we got to be very, very careful. Let's not go into that Knicks game, that in-season cup game, overconfident.
No,
we're literally going to be playing 5 against 8.
It depends. We'll have to see who the ref crew is. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and say that until the morning and I see the referees. I'll tell you then. But right now, I don't want to say that for sure. It's likely what you're saying is true, but we don't know for sure yet. And let's never underestimate the power of our own home court advantage also. Let's just say that. Because we do have a very good home court, and the Knicks have not been winning on the road this year. They've made a lot of wins this year just from being at home and having a home favorite schedule so far this year. And we've had the opposite. We have a record that's very next to them, and we have the same games back from Detroit. But we played a majority of our games so far this season on the road, and they played a majority of their games at home. That's another thing to make note of here. All right, Infamous. I appreciate you getting through.
One more thing. I disagree with you on Thibodeau, but we'll have that discussion another time.
What do you mean about Thibodeau? As far as like?
Oh yeah. Well, they needed to fire Thibodeau. I know you don't agree with that.
No, I don't agree with that.
I'll break it down why.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's not do that right now.
No, we're not doing that right now.
Yeah, we're already at, I think we've gone 12 minutes instead of 6.
No, okay, no problem. You have yourself a good day.
All right, Infamous. Much love. Let's go Raptors. All right, my guy. That's awesome. Right. Seymour, you definitely try and call back again, and hopefully I can get the phone to work for you when you call back. All right, let me get back to stars of the game. I was talking about Colin Murray-Boyles is my star of the game. The thing I really loved last night was he was very concentrated on the boards and specifically getting offensive rebounds. He had 5 out of 8 rebounds last night being offensive. 11 points for Colin, 5 of 6 from the field, 1 for 3 at the free throw line. Those 2 free throw misses, that was the bright lights of MSG. I'm telling you right now, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, and a steal of -5. Yeah, it's not the most stellar stat line for the star of the game for me, but you know what? He really impressed me with thriving in the physicality of the Knicks playing against them. And it's funny, at one point, they were saying on the TV that Josh Hart yelled at RJ on our bench saying because he's playing against Colin. He's saying, this boy's strong. That's hilarious because, I was watching Colin out there battling with like Mitchell Robinson and people like that. And I'm like, I feel bad for him because Mitchell's so big and strong. I was like, wait a second. Wait, Colin can kind of hold his own. This is crazy. So it really is a good sign that a kid from South Carolina is already kind of holding his own weight in the NBA as a rookie. And he has a lot of muscle to put on his body still. Let's kind of think about Scott. And like when he came in, he was already kind of strong, but now he's on a whole other level of strong at this point in his career. Colin Murray-Boyles will have a similar path with his body and his strength going forward. And he may become one of the strongest players in the NBA. Seriously, guys, because he's already got a crazy innate strong. Now, he also was showing some of that Charles Barkley that I was talking about last night. You see how he gets on the boards, and you see how he's very good at protecting the ball and finishing and executing with trouble around him. People can be around him, trying to stop him, pull him, push him, and he's very good at finishing with contact. So big kudos to Colin. A good game in a very hostile environment. In some ways, even though you were a little starstruck at the free throw line, you made good things happen, unlike a lot of the other young Raptors last night. So kudos to you, Colin. My second star of the game last night was Immanuel Quickley. I feel like Immanuel Quickley had good and bad to him last night, but mostly good. I really did enjoy him kind of hitting those shots, that barrage of threes he had in the middle of the game, and playing with the crowd in Madison Square Garden. Of course, they love him there. So he's one of those rare cases where somebody could come into Madison Square Garden as an opponent and showboat and do things like hit big shots, and people will still love him there. It's crazy. So he kind of eats it up and does that, and it's amazing. But yeah, Emmanuel a little bit better with the decisions than the Charlotte game, and a better game last night for him against New York. But still, there's, like I said, I'm noticing you quickly you're not throwing the ball to Jacoby and Grady sometimes. And I really want you to start looking for those guys, because you're a key to get them offensively going. And if you're holding them back because you're looking out for your friend RJ and you don't want him to lose his starting spot, don't do that, man. We need these youngsters to go well. RJ ain't going to lose his spot. Trust me, he's going to come back and he'll be a starter as soon as he comes back. But Emmanuel, 19 points in 35 minutes on 7 of 14 shooting. He shot 50%, so we can't get mad at him too much for the shot selection. Most of it was very smart. 4 for 10 from 3. He did miss 2 of his free throws, which once again is weird. The Raptors overall at the free throw line were horrible, 53%. Really, really bad. 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 turnovers, and a -8. I wish Emmanuel would get more assists. In some ways, Manny, I know you can shoot. I know you can do this. I know you can do that. But I want you to get higher assist totals. You need to get these guys involved. I'm telling you, I keep saying this, but this is a big part of what will help the Raptors right now. My third star of the game is Oshai. I felt like Oshai was a real factor last night. In fact, he was the only Raptor that had a plus at the end of the game. He was a big, huge part of the big run in the second quarter where we absolutely kicked the Knicks' ass and evened up almost at halftime. And we were doing okay in that quarter. We were fantastic in that quarter. And Ochai Agbaji was a big part of it. He was playing really, really good defense, and he was just active, and he's out there making things happen. 17 minutes for Agbaji and 6 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal. As I said, a +3. The only Raptor that had a plus rating this whole game. And, you know, he was doing defensive stuff that's really important on people like Deuce McBride. As soon as he came out there, they put him on Deuce, and Deuce stopped making threes. So that was an important thing that Agbaji did on there. I'll give an honorable mention to Scotty Barnes for how he played last night. He was playing very well early. He had that crazy 4 threes in a row. Everybody else missing shots. Nobody on the Raptors making anything. Meanwhile, Scott effortlessly bombing threes. In fact, he hit the 4th one. And I was like, heat check, just like Jack Armstrong said. He had to do a heat check. And, well, you hit 4 threes like at the very beginning of the game, which was pretty cool. 32 minutes for Scott, 18 points, 7 of 17 shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 2 blocks, a -6 for Scotty overall. He kind of had a very strong first half, and then the second half he wasn't as prominent. It's just kind of like, you know, it's tough because Brandon had been taken away from us and just absolutely ineffective. And then Scotty kind of faded as the game went on. And Manny kind of showed up in the second half and tried to get us close. And he was doing these crazy barrages. I mean, that's why we want Emmanuel to do what he does, is because he can make points happen really quickly. And then all of a sudden the score is a lot closer. And we're, instead of being down by 16, we're only down by 5. And that kind of stuff is awesome. And that in some ways, that's why we encourage Emmanuel to do what he does, is because he can get a lot of points for us really fast, and we can catch up quicker with quickly. So, yeah, it's tough. Brandon was tough last night. I'll go ahead and go over the rest of these guys. 32 minutes for Brandon Ingram. He had 14 points on 4 of 11 shooting. He started the game 0 for 5, missed his first 5 shots, and it really set the tone for the rest of the guys. The confidence went out the window, and nobody could shoot well after that except for Scotty. Scotty was the only one immune to this. Brandon 2 for 5 from 3. He hit a couple late. 4 for 7 at the free throw line. And like the missed free throws are part of killing the confidence too. You know, this is just something you got to tighten up, man. You're a leader on this team, Brandon. You don't necessarily have to be the franchise leader or this or the vocal leader, but you have to be a leader in your play. And that means making your shots, making your free throws, and making sure you're doing your defensive assignments. That's all we're asking of you, my guy. That's all we're asking. If you had distractions from Thanksgiving and family and different things going on, man, we got to stay focused. And we got to do what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was a tough game for Brandon. 1 rebound, 4 assists, 5 turnovers. He was turning the ball over a lot, but they were really crowding him. And he had the worst plus-minus on the team, a -22. In some ways, the first half, he was playing so bad. I was like, Darko, if you have to bench Brandon for a chunk of this game and give him less minutes than he's used to, I would do it just to send a message that you have to play harder on defense. And you know what? We got to get everybody involved on offense, especially if you're not making your shots. So, yeah, Jameson got the start, and it was disappointing, man. I was really hoping that Battle would have a game like he did that one game against Cleveland, but it wasn't like that. 11 minutes for him. He got pulled early in the first quarter, and then he got the garbage time at the end. 4 points for Jameson. One was a dunk. They were all in the lane. 2 of 4. He missed both his 3 attempts. 1 rebound, 1 turnover, a minus 13. Yeah, just not good. Jacoby Walter just not earning the starter spot, man. In some ways, I wish they had started Abaji instead of you last night, or even Murray Boyles. But yeah, Jacoby, I don't know what's going on right now. Maybe it's another confidence thing with this guy. 21 minutes, 7 points, 3 of 7 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 2 blocks, though, for Jacoby, a minus 15. Yeah, I think in some ways Jacoby was in there playing with Josh Hart and these guys. And you know what? You get a little lesson from playing your opponent. You see what they're like. And maybe you kind of like, you know what? I could steal this. I could be like this with like Josh Hart. As a young player, you know, in some ways, Jacoby, if you try and emulate Josh Hart on some things, that probably wouldn't be a bad thing for your career. Let's just put it that way. If you can learn some of the stuff that you had to go against last night. Sandro off the bench, 9 points in 27 minutes, 3 of 9 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 2 blocks, a minus 17, one of the worst plus minuses on the team. So it's tough. It's just a tough game. I think that Sandro was pretty good, even though like it was a tough game in some ways, and he was just in there battling. Jonathan Mobo got garbage time. It's nice to see him get back on the court for the Raptors. In 4 minutes, he got 2 points on 1 of 3 shooting, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and that's it. You know, it was kind of shitty on garbage time. We put our bench guys in, and they only scored 2 baskets the whole last 5 minutes of the game. The Knicks weren't scoring either. It was just ugly, bad basketball where both ends of the benches were just turning the ball over, just not hitting their shots, and then running back and forth on the court. And it was kind of disappointing. That was a time where I wanted to see Grady and Battle and them start waking up and getting a lot of good points then. But alas, that wasn't the case in this situation. Jamal Shed, 17 minutes, only 2 points. It was that layup that I talked about right off the bat. He came out and hit a layup. In some ways, I know he heard the noise. The bench sucked and didn't score any points against Charlotte. And Jamal immediately came out and hit a layup to set the tone for him. But that's all he did. He missed all 3 of his 3 attempts, 1 of 6 from the field, 1 rebound, 5 assists with 1 turnover, which was that crazy pass up court. With 4 steals, though, I'll give him credit for that, was still minus 17. You know, like I said to Emmanuel, you know, if you can, Jamal, give your teammates some help, man. You love Jacoby so much. You guys have got to silver platter these guys. Get the ball to them in situations where they're open in a place that they can be successful, and silver platter these guys so they get easy shots that they will have no reason to miss, and you guys get assists. I'm telling you right now, Chucky made his NBA debut last night, and he really wanted to score his first NBA points, kind of forcing 3 shots there, not good shots, and he didn't make them. So he didn't get his first NBA points, but he did make his NBA debut last night. First game ever for Chucky Hepburn, 5 minutes, 0 points, 0 for 3, 1 rebound, 1 steal. And then Grady off the bench, 18 minutes, 2 points, 1 of 4 from the field, 3 rebounds, and that's about it. Yeah. Man, it is what it is. And in some ways, the Raptors can improve. They're a young team, like Kaloy said, and there's stuff we're learning, and we're going to get better, guys. We're going to get better. That's right. Let's see. Seymour saying this. I always say we are the bar of the league. When they beat us, they act like it's a championship, mad highlights and all. But when we beat them, it's those guys are garbage, as we as Raps get no respect. It's fine. I don't care. The only thing that matters is the result and the stats and the standings and the win total. And speculation, the way they cover things, the way they ignore, the way they prop up, the way they do whatever, it doesn't matter. We can't control that. What we can control is trying to win and winning, and in some ways deciding that we don't give a shit about how all the fanfare or the publicity is around it, because they are not covering us right or fairly. It's true. Although I will go to ESPN this morning and read the article that they put out this morning that is 2025 NBA Cup, biggest questions ahead of the quarterfinals. And basically, they've got stuff like your NBA Cup group stage MVP is, and a lot of them are saying Luka Doncic. Somebody said Devin Booker. Somebody said SGA. A couple of people said SGA. Somebody said, what is the biggest surprise of the group play? Well, somebody said Heat. Somebody said Spurs. But two people said Raptors running through Group A and winning that group over Cleveland and Atlanta is a surprise, is what they're saying there. Somebody said the Magic. The most intriguing quarterfinal matchup is the Heat and the Magic, is two people saying Suns and Thunder, Spurs and Lakers. But somebody said the Knicks and Raptors, and they're saying what a great prompt to revisit the 2023 trade between the two franchises that sent RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and a 2024 second-round pick to Toronto for OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn. Only Anunoby remains with the Knicks, and the rugged 3-and-D forward is a key part of the team with the NBA Finals aspirations. You always call me when I'm reading something. All right, let me see if I can get the speaker to work this time, Seymour. I don't know if it will, man. I'm trying to push it. It won't turn on. Yeah, the phone's not going to work, man. The phone's not going to work. It's not going to work. Let's see. Where was I? All right, hang on. Only Anunoby remains with the Knicks, and the rugged 3-and-D4 is a key part of the team with the NBA Finals aspirations. So we have NBA Finals aspirations too. Barrett and Quickley are both starting for Toronto, and that second-round pick was used on Jonathan Mobo, the 6'9" forward that shows a flash of promise as a rookie last season. Though it appears the swap has worked for both sides, the Raptors are currently ahead of the Knicks in the East standings and will host the quarterfinals matchup at Scotiabank Arena. So things are looking up for the North. Yeah, I love that write-up by McMenamin. McMenamin said that. Don't be surprised if blank in the knockout rounds. Oklahoma City cruises the Cup title without its MVP playing a second in the fourth quarter. Okay. The Heat shock everyone and win. Wembanyama shines in his new stage if he's cleared to return. Somebody here said the Raptors continue their surprising start. Never underestimate the added motivation of winning the Cup and how that might inspire a team, especially one that few expected to be here. I'm looking at the Raptors as the ultimate spoiler for the Cup party. Barrett is out for at least the quarterfinal. I don't know if that's true. He may be back for that game, actually, guys. They're saying they don't know. Like, I think that he's going to get evaluated on Wednesday, and he'll be back by the Tuesday next week. So, Knicks fans, you might want to expect RJ to be there. Seriously. I'm looking at the Raptors as the ultimate spoiler for the Cup party. Barrett is out, but at least that gives one of their unheralded role players a chance to show how hungry they are for the bonus prize money. So, young Misuk is actually picking the Raptors to win the Cup as one of the ESPN writers. That's pretty awesome, man. And they're also asking, of all the other 7 teams, who has the best chance of knocking off Oklahoma City Thunder? And some people said the Lakers. 4 of them said the Lakers, but one person said the Raptors actually have the best chance to beat the Thunder. Goodwill said they actually fit the profile of a team that could give the Oklahoma City Machine some trouble in a one-game setting, namely long and rangy wings to throw at Gilgeous-Alexander and the returning Jalen Williams. Toronto keeps teams away from clean three-point looks, 6th in defensive efficiency, and has 2 players who can create plenty of offense in the open floor in Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram. So we are getting a little bit of respect from the NBA Cup article now as far as we could be a surprise team and stuff like that. That's pretty good. I like that. I like that right there. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see. Raptors champs is saying, good morning, Raptor freaks. Don't worry. We are still champs. That's right. We're still champs. That's what my shirt says right here. 2019 NBA champions. And the Knicks, well, last time they won was the year I was born, and I'm 50. I'll just say that. The last time they won was the year I was born, and I'm 50. So, Pope of Positivity, Jimmy Pope, just goes to show how the absence of RJ and especially Yak is affecting our team. Got to go through this slump, and when we're hopefully healthy, our formula will be back. Yeah, we'll be very happy to see these guys back. Of course, Yak isn't hurt. He just took a rest game. And, well, I think that Jimmy's right. I mean, I think that Infamous is right, that, you know, it's a strategic thing to hold them out in this game. We have seen NBA teams hold out top players to not show their full hand strategically in games in the past. And this is a smart one. And in some ways, like I said, some people may disagree with him not playing Yak against the Knicks and playing him against Charlotte, but I can see kind of the method of the madness. It's just too bad we didn't win the Charlotte game. This wouldn't feel so awful and weird, although we would have lost our 10-game winning streak to the Knicks. So there's a silver lining to everything, honestly. A silver lining to everything. Nako's here. Good to see you, Gerald. Good to see you in the chat again. What an exciting second quarter. The rest of the game was stinky. That second quarter was a lot of fun. And we were definitely playing way better at that time. Colin, Scotty, and probably Mamu were our best. Yeah, okay. That's a little bit different than my three, but that's fine. I had Colin, Emmanuel, and Oshai as my top 3 Raptors yesterday. Nako's saying this, not having OG isn't as bad as not having RJ and Yak. I would agree with this. I think OG is a fantastic player. I don't want to diss him. We love our OG Anunoby that we share with the Knicks, and we will share him forever, guys. He doesn't have a ring with y'all, Knicks. He has a ring with us. And, this is what I say. OG is duplicitous in some ways with Mikal Bridges. In some ways, they're very similar player. And in some ways, it's like the ingredients that OG gets taken away when he's not playing are kind of filled in certain ways by other Knicks guys. Meanwhile, RJ and Yak do things for the Raptors that nobody else does for them. And in some ways, that's the thing that is different about the absences from the game last night, is that in some ways, OG's absolutely makes them better. And he's a really, really good player. But we have 2 players that add dimensions to our game that we did not have last night. And that's totally different, is what I would say to that. Jimmy's saying this, our offense clearly needs RJ's rim pressure. Yeah. And just his drive, his strength, and his leadership in some ways too. Because, look, in game parts of the game against Charlotte and New York this weekend, the late game situations where we need buckets and we're not scoring, especially in that Charlotte game in the fourth quarter where we couldn't buy a bucket, that's where RJ would be doing it for us. He'd be going down the lane and making those left-handed layups against the defense. And that he's a bucket getter. We know he would have carried for us in the fourth quarter against Charlotte. And how close was that game? If you have RJ Barrett against the Hornets on Saturday night, we win that game for sure, because he makes the offense happen in the stagnant fourth where we couldn't buy a basket, and they came back and tied up the game and got into overtime. So that alone right there, I would say that would have changed the Charlotte game for sure. Shaq Lindsay saying, I'm not going to beat a horse when it's down, but I'm going to beat the drum on a glaring hole in the backup center. Sandro is good at playing spot-up minutes at center position. If we had certified backup big, we could slot Sandro at the 4 and Colin at the 3. Yeah, I think that somebody made a meme on Reddit that's kind of funny where Darko started this lineup with Scott at center and Jameson and Jacoby in as the replacements for Yak and RJ. And they're making a joke that Darko made this lineup to show Bobby that he really needs to get off his ass and make this move to get a center. That Darko did this on purpose and had this game like this to kind of entice the front office to go do something. I think that it's now December, and now, this month it could be when we do this. So alas, guys, we'll have to see when the trigger is pulled. It will be pulled, trust me. So don't be sad or upset. Just let it happen when it's supposed to, and we'll be patient. But I agree with you, Shaq Lindsay. This is a need we need, and hopefully Bobby will fill it soon. Jimmy Pub saying, I'm not for trading, but Bobby needs to figure out how we can get more size. We clearly need another big body. Well, we have an open roster spot, Jimmy, that nobody's in. We don't have to drop anyone. We could just sign somebody tomorrow and they could be on our team. And it's like that. But we're thinking that some of the stuff he's doing is cap purposes, apron purposes, and the timing of it. Bobby knows what best. We don't know all the ins and outs, the intricacies of a general manager in the NBA and the deadlines and the rules he has to follow. So let's stop cloud GMing people out there telling Bobby what to do and understand he has it on lock and he understands the rules the best. And he's going to do this in a way that's going to be best for the Raptors. As I said in the past, trust in Masai. We got to trust in Bobby now. And understand that what he decides and when he decides to do it, there's a method to the madness. He's not being lazy or he's being careless. He may be kind of in some ways riding this a little bit recklessly just to see how far he can go with it. But I think there's a real reason why he's doing it this way, and it's probably financial reasons. So in some ways, we'll just have to see it. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. And well, maybe we'll see it in the next couple weeks. We'll have to see. Kaloy saying this. I'm sure Bobby is aware of, at that end, and will work on his magic on the right time. He will get us a backup big that fits. Yeah, he's going to do it right, guys. And we may be very, very pleasantly happy. It could very well be Raptors Nation's getting a Christmas gift this year around Christmas as far as another big. That's right. Jimmy's saying, anyone else kind of concerned about Grady? His third year is kind of meh. I was expecting more from him, not going to lie. Well, once again, and I brought this up a couple weeks ago about Grady. Last year, let's not gauge him by second-year Grady. Second-year Grady was thrust in the starting lineup and got prominent minutes a lot. He is in a totally different role with a more talented team and knocked down the hierarchy a little bit, and his opportunities are not the same. When you're losing a lot and you play a lot of minutes, you can get a lot of stats that look real good, but it's not winning basketball. So what's the point? Well, we're winning basketball now, and in some ways his talents are a little bit further down. It's an adjustment. He has to realize how to be a role player in smaller minutes and how to fill the role in a very, very effective way in the short period of time that he's out there. And he hasn't totally gotten that yet. The other thing is, I think that in some ways he is a little bit in his head right now. And he wasn't in his head at all last year. Even in his rookie year, he had a bad start the first half of his rookie year. And then around Christmas, he woke up and he had a way better second half of his rookie year. His second year, he was a starter most of the year and got a lot of minutes, and he looked real good. You cannot look at him and compare him from last year, because he's not getting the same opportunities. And in some ways, that's part of the piling on that's hurting him right now, is maybe the fans are like seeing the difference and they're saying he's dropping off. He's not as good as he was last year. No, in some ways, it's a complicated thing that's not as simple as saying he's just worse than last year. There's opportunities a lot less for him this year, and that's part of it. And then, he gets out there and he gets his first couple shots and they don't go in, and his confidence is just, he's really scrambling because he does want to play more. He does want to have more responsibilities, but in some ways he's not playing in the way to be granted that yet. And he knows that, but Darko's going to keep playing him and keep giving him that chance. And hopefully Grady will just get hot one day all of a sudden, and he'll be like, yeah, all right, I've got it going again, and it'll feel better. But yeah, it's a tough thing. And especially with a player of his player build, because he is a shooter and shooters will go through streaks. And once again, we got to remember, he's got two things going on. He's trying to bulk his body up to play defense better. And while you bulk your body up, it can alter your shot as you build muscle. And that may be why his shot's a little bit off, is because he's got bigger arms all of a sudden that he's posing in team photos after the game. So that's a big part of it right there too. We gotta give him that. Let's see. Reggie's saying Knicks fans are always over the top when they win. Yeah, they're like that. They can be like that for sure. Kareem Thomas is saying this. I just hate that we are at mercy to everybody every time we don't have Yak. And we could lose like 20 games solely based on not having a backup. Well, in some ways, Scotty would argue with you that he can be that backup. He's that arrogant and egotistical that he'd like, I can do this, Kareem, and I believe him. I mean, it's not egotistical if he can actually back it up. So that's part of it. I think that in some ways, I'll bet you the internal dialogue on the team this past weekend about deciding how to use Yak was, Darko very openly talking to Scott and saying, on Sunday, I want you to play Yak Cat. I love that. Darko, please give me Cat. I love playing Cat. I played Cat last year, and I loved guarding him, and I feel like I can stop him. And to an extent, Scott did a good job on Cat last night. He didn't let him do nothing in the first half. Late in the game, when Scott kind of faded and went away after it was routed, that's when Cat woke up and made most of his points last night. It was late in the game. If you watch the first half, Scott's fronting him very successfully. He's holding him out. Now, the biggest problem with Yak not being out there was the offensive rebounds that the Knicks got. And, Darko blamed them and the turnovers that the Raptors committed for why we lost. Is we didn't take care of the ball like we normally do, and we coughed up the ball way more than they did. And then offensive rebounds absolutely killed us. So those were the really two bad things about the game yesterday. That's it right there. Smooth saying this. They're a happy bunch if the Raptors are anyone else. They're a happy bunch if Raptors or anyone else. I'm not sure what that means. Shaq Lindsay saying this: we keep on talking about the Raptors' depth, but are we really deep if RJ goes down and we don't have someone off the bench to pick up that slack? Well, let's remind everybody that RJ went down a while ago. He's been missing a few games, and we won some of those games. So, I think we're 2-2 with RJ out. So, I mean, listen, it's all glasses half full, glasses half empty kind of stuff, you guys. We can talk about it either way. And in some ways, let's not overreact to 2 losses in a row. Let's play Portland tomorrow and get another W and just keep going. So, the Raptors are in good shape. And in some ways, we have a really good record still, and we are still up near the top of the East. So let's hold our heads up and keep going forward and just take each game as a clean slate to try and do better the next one. Like I said, this game last night was a trap game. It was a scheduled loss by the NBA. And, well, Knicks fans got what they wanted. They had an entertaining game where they saw us get beat against their team. And, in some ways, this was part of the design. Well, we learned from it. We have tape from it. And in some ways, we didn't show our best hand because RJ and Yak weren't there. And, well, the next game's going to count for a lot more. And that's the one I want to win right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Raptors champs is saying this: I think BI plays better with RJ on the floor, maybe. I think that's for sure. Because he adds a whole other level of worry for the other team, and it takes pressure off him. It's like they take pressure off each other, because even RJ plays better with Brandon out there too. So it works both ways. I think that's exactly right. Kaloy's saying, everyone just remember, OKC didn't suddenly become good. They did it in steps, and I think the Raps are going to be the same way. We may be good this season, but we are incomplete. I don't know. We're still discovering more and more about this team. And in some ways, I wouldn't use the word incomplete. I mean, we're missing 2 starters last night. And that's different than being incomplete. And I know y'all's concerns about the backup big. We're going to get that figured out midway through the season. Watch. We will get that figured out. And then, like, near the end of the season, we'll look more complete, so to speak. I'll say that. Kaloy saying this: but our guy Scotty has been showing his stuff. We now have a 2-way monster. Scotty is definitely an all-star. Yeah, he's going to be an all-star, and he should be voted in as an all-star because or not either voted in or picked to be an all-star. No replacement, because we're at the top of the East, top of the league, and in some ways we need to get a representative, and he's clearly our best player right now. And he's had such a good streak of games recently. He's been very consistent and playing very well at both ends. You're right. Black Mamba's back in the house. Good to see Black Mamba. The Raptors play at a very fast pace. That being said, you got to adjust your body to that. BI is getting adjusted to that, I feel. They've definitely been coming at him differently. Like I said, there's different angles they're doubling him from. And, I just feel like in some ways Brandon's just being a little lackadaisical right now all of a sudden. And he just needs to wake up a little bit and just be a little bit more on top of things. In some ways, I get it. In some ways, he's a very smooth player, and he kind of plays to his own beat. But I think in this situation, like you guys are saying, they're trying to speed him up. The Knicks were trying to speed him up last night, and that disrupted his flow and his shot to a degree. And, it's tough. I mean, if RJ was out there, that game last night was more his style than Brandon's style. That knock it around, physical kind of, I'm going to go through you kind of style. That's RJ. And in some ways, he would have thrived in the environment last night better than Brandon, So, yeah, it's tough. Was it chicken or the egg? Brandon's going to give space to RJ. RJ's going to give space to Brandon. And we'll see that when RJ comes back. That's right. Smooth saying this: the Charlotte loss hurts more now. Knicks were going to beat Toronto regardless. I was pretty sure they were going to probably beat us. But partly is because the home advantage and the back-to-back. I mean, I was hoping. I was trying to want to have my cake and eat it too. Let's sit out Yak and let's still beat the Knicks. And that'll be really, really good, overpowering kind of stuff. Alas, that's not what happened. And the Knicks had a very good game plan, and they executed it well. That's right. Yeah, Bryce is saying this: I was intrigued with Battle starting, but did it hurt us? I think it did in a way. Because, it's one thing to have Jacoby and Jamison, Jacoby in the starting lineup. If he's a dead note as a starter, we can't have 2 dead notes in the starting lineup. Starters need to get double digits. And in some ways, the fact that Walter and Battle started last night and they both failed to get to double digits, that really hurt us last night. And the bench scoring is important, especially, if two of the starters are not going to be scoring themselves. So yeah, I do think it did hurt us. I'm not saying that the idea wasn't right, but I would say that if you're really looking at how this could have worked better, is the point guard needed to get these guys going. Once again, they need to get their shots, and that's setting them up with getting open good looks. Shaq Lindsay saying this, BI is still celebrating on that shot. Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I mean, I would just say, like, look, that's how things go, ups and downs with teams. We know we're not going to win every game, and some games we're going to just have to lose, and that's just how it goes, right? That's just how it goes. All right, let's see. Where am I in the chat? Wow, good to see so many people in the chat this morning. I appreciate you guys for the support and wanting to talk about the Raptors game. That's right. Neil's here. Excuse me. Right. Once again, I said I am a little sick. Good to see Blackhawk in the chat, my good guy. What's going on, man? Nako's saying I would have started CMB or maybe Mobo set the defensive tone. I think the Colin start looks better in hindsight considering how he played. Yeah, I mean, that would have been interesting, but I don't know if that would have been exactly the right thing. I mean, I like that he started Battle. It's just that if you're going to start Battle, focus on him and get the ball to him. Seriously. Where's the place where Brandon takes all the attention and he swings it over to Battle in the corner for an open three? Where's that play? Because that play's not being found. Because that play is there. That play is there. I just don't see why the Raptors don't try and set that up and get that to happen. That's what I'm problem right there. Facts. Okay. Shaq Lindsay saying this. There's no denying it. We need a certified backup big. Teams are getting 3 to 4 chances before knocking it down. Love Sandro, but he's not a center, and he will admit to it. It's not necessarily getting another big. It's the commitment of the guys to hunt down the rebounds and box out. We're not a good rebounding team in this case because some of these guys are lazy, just standing around watching the ball come off the backboard and not going to get it. You see when somebody does that? That's what Colin did last night, where he's tracking the ball, and when he sees the trajectory, he's running that spot where it's going, and he's going to grab it. We don't have enough guys doing this. We have Scotty doing it, and we have Colin doing it. We see Jacoby do it every once in a while. We see Grady doing it every once in a while, but not enough people are doing that. And then the other problem is we're not finding guys to box them out. There's a lot of guys slipping in and getting second chance shots because they're getting around our defense and getting inside of it to get the ball when we shouldn't. This is not necessarily because we don't have a backup big. A backup big's not going to solve this by himself. This is a team thing that all of them need to make a team commitment to shore up and take care of. That's what it is right there. There's no hero that's going to save us, Bonnie Tyler. We need a hero. I'm holding out for a hero. No, one guy's not going to come in and solve the rebounding problem. All the Raptors need to recommit to doing this, and they did for a little while. When this was a problem earlier this season, the guys started really recommitting to boxing out and rebounding, but last night they lost it again. So it's a team commitment, and it's an effort thing. They have to want to go get it. Now, on the second night of a back-to-back where they're a little bit tired, maybe that's part of the reason why they're not getting after the offensive or the rebounds in general and stopping the offensive rebounds. That's part of it right there. Trevor J saying, we play Portland on Tuesday. They're the only team to beat Oklahoma City this season. Yeah, and they have a losing record too, which is interesting. I'll scout them tonight, and we'll have the preview for Portland in the morning, 9:30 a.m. tomorrow on this channel. I hope you'll join me then too. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying we are asking too much out of Sandro, and it's affecting his offense. I don't know if it's that exactly. Please, let's stop making excuses for Dick. I mean, what do we want to do? He's a young commodity that we're trying to bring up and make better and better and better. I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm just trying to say that his role is different this year. It's diminished, and we cannot compare him to last year to this year. That's just not fair to him. And what are we supposed to say? Well, I mean, his arms are bigger and his shot has been altered and he's not making his shots. I think that's part of it. Seriously. I think that's dead on because we've seen this happen with shooters in the past with the Raptors where players get bigger arms all of a sudden and their shot's not falling exactly right because they have to adjust to the new strength, right? Black Mama's saying this. We need Jakob give Colin Murray Boyles more run and reward CMB for his physicality. A couple times last night, Colin Murray Boyles was rolling after the pick. Give it to him for that little shot at the nail. There's tons of opportunities where guys are open, and our guys are not finding them. I don't know what's going on. If there's any kind of selfishness on the down low in certain players, they need to fucking get rid of that shit right now. And really, really be all for one for all, and get that ball to the open guy. I don't care which one of the guys it is. If they're wide open, don't freeze them out. Don't play favorites. Don't be like taking a second to look at who's that over there that's open. Oh, no, I don't want to give it to them. I'm holding it, and then I'm going to take it myself. No, if that motherfucker is open over there, throw it to them. Because seriously, the way defenses play defense and make it so hard to find a good open shot, and there's 24-second shot clock violations, you need to take the opportunities presented to you that is put in front of you open right there. I think that Kia Nurse did a fantastic job before the broadcast last night with her new little iPad toy, and Leo's not allowed to touch it. It's hilarious. But she did a really good job before the game last night, pointing out all the mistakes in the Charlotte game at the end of the game. She did such a good job of pointing out that new little toy she has is fantastic. TSN, kudos to y'all for setting up that. And she really did a good job of pointing out the spacing issues that the Raptors were not doing things right against the Hornets. Yeah, really, really good job. That was fantastic content. Kia Nurse, salute to you. That was really broke it down in a good way. You're teaching Canada basketball when you do stuff like that. Seriously, really, really good. Kaloy's saying this. I'm excited to see what happens on Tuesday. We will see how Darko handles the team after losses. Yeah, in some ways, the team's got to see how they handle the losses and coming back and trying to get pissed off. Now, the crazy thing is now we're going to start a 5-game homestand. We're going to have 5 games in a row at home. They don't have to travel anywhere. Jack was saying it may be a problem because it's the holiday season. It can be a distraction. No, don't let no holidays distract y'all Raptors. You got home games here. The last time you had a homestand, you had 4 games in a row in that win streak, and you won all 4 of the home games. So you got 5 home games now. The opponents are a little bit tougher than the last time. But out of those 5 games, I'll be happy if you win 3 out of those 5. That's what I'm saying right now. When we start this 5-game homestand, I want to win 3 out of those 5 games at least. And the teams are Portland, Lakers, Charlotte, Boston, and New York in that in-season tournament game. So can we win 3 out of the next 5 games? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. The Lakers have a very good record. They may be a tough game. Charlotte, we got to pay them back for what happened last Saturday. Boston Celtics. That's a grudge match on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. at Scotiabank Arena next Sunday. And also Portland has been kind of dangerous, beating the Thunder already. And that enchilada of that in-season tournament game, yeah, at the end of this 5-game road trip. Homestand. So, yeah, I want to get 3 out of 5. If we can get 3 or more, I am ecstatic. If we could sweep them, hell yeah. Let's get all 5 then. But at least 3 for me to feel successful about this homestand coming up. That's right. Let's see. G saying this. To me, if this was a scheduled loss, not mad about it. Wish we won the Hornets game, but maybe this will light a fire. Yeah, that Hornets game is a game we should have won for sure. But that was robbed from us by Mark Davis. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say that all year. That Hornets game shouldn't even been close, and we should have won that one outright, but that was a manufactured loss for us. In some ways, there was a silver lining that the Knicks didn't get to end our streak. That's the silver lining. Raptors champs is saying we should have kept Battle's confidence going by playing him after that amazing performance, because I actually think he lost confidence by benching him after such a performance. That's a way to look at it. But once again, you know what? This is not really how it works with shooters. Some nights you have it and some nights you don't. And, that was so potent that night against Cleveland, that one game. There's no telling. Like, once again, I'll use my analogy about the sharp knife. You don't want to dull the knife by overusing it. And in some ways, I think that, once again, the point guards got to get Battle and Dick more involved. That's where we're failing with them. I don't think it's even them. I see them in good positions and places to get the ball, and they're being overlooked when they're open. And in some ways, Darko may need to tell the point guards, Quick and Shed, to very overvalue hitting those guys when they're wide open because they need to hit it. I'm getting the feeling that these guys don't trust Grady right now to hit threes, and they're avoiding throwing him the ball. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. That'll snowball confidence to be a worse place. So, I mean, we could have, would have, could, should have with Battle and this. But there's no telling what it would have been. He could have played the next game and started the next game, and he would have been just shitty the next game. So we can't really say this. And in some ways, this isn't even a confidence thing because Battle gets the assignment. He's an undrafted guy that made his way from a two-way to a regular contract. And in some ways, he's just happy to be there. It's nothing to do with his confidence. I think it's more that he's just not getting the ball to get the shots. Because how many shots did he take last night? And how often was he getting the ball? He took like 4 shots and he started. He should have had way more shots last night. They got to find him, man. They got to find him. Let's see. Kaloy's saying this. Really excited when watching Scotty's development. Yeah, he's really grown, literally, as a person. Mama's telling me to preach. Right on, man. I like that. I'll keep going. Blackhawks saying this. IQ was better on ball yesterday, but there's still more work to be done. I want him to play more point guard. We know he can score. We know he can fill it up. I want to really see him dedicate himself to getting everybody else better again because I feel like he is a key player to unlock those other guys, those young guys, and he's just not helping them, and he should. Kaloy's saying this, bring back to Darko ball, 30 assists minimum. I think this is an experiment to see how far you can lean on Brandon. That may be part of it. We leaned on him very heavy this week, that's for sure, in RJ's absence. And we were very successful with him for 2 games last week, not successful with him the last 2 games. Let me go look at the team stats since you brought up the assist number. And let's see how they did. Did they get 30 assists last night? No, they did not. We shot worse than the Knicks, 42% overall to their 46. They manufactured 8 more shots than us, shot attempts. That's the offensive rebounding. Their threes were way better, especially early. They were scorching, and that gave them a huge lead. And that really kind of hurt us right away with our confidence in that really crazy building. It's really hard to come back in Madison Square Garden when you're getting trounced in the first quarter and you allow a 41-point first quarter. And the threes by McBride, absolutely devastating in the first quarter. They ended up with 16 threes. We only had 11. We shot 30% from 3. At free throws, dismal also, 9 of 17 for the Raptors. And once again, these things all add up to hurting your confidence, 53% at the free throw line. The free throw totals were similar. We had 1 more free throw attempt than the Knicks. So nothing screwy with that with Kevin Scott and Trey Maddox. The rebounds plus 21 for the Knicks. That's a huge area where we lost the game. And 25 of those rebounds that they got were offensive. And that's just unacceptable. That's something that probably needs to be the key point in their film for this game and what they're talking about, what they need to fix is getting the offensive rebounds not to be like that for the other team. Assists to turnover ratio was the same for both teams, exactly 27 assists and 18 turnovers. But the thing is, in some ways, the Knicks did better capitalizing off their turnovers than we did. So that was tough. Also, points in the paint, even 48-48. So there's a lot of even stuff here other than the rebounds. The rebounds a very, very key difference between the two teams. And yeah, it's messed up, man. It's messed up. Baseman saying this right now. I'm worried about Ingram and fans talking bad about him. Ingram got to believe that those fans are from other teams trying to discourage him. Yeah, I mean, these NBA players, they know the drill with fans and different things. We heard Fred espouse on this on his podcast that, a lot of fans aren't really for the individual human as the player. They're just blindly cheering for their team or their parlay or bullshit like that. And they sometimes forget the human factor of the player. But these guys are tough. They make a lot of money. They got girlfriends like Glorilla. And, they know the difference between a fan, a troll, and a person that's just toxic. There's real fans that actually care about these guys. And they those are the fans they love. But, listen, Brandon's not trying to hear nothing online. And I'm sure he's not hearing any of this. And even if he is, he's in the league for 10 years. It's nothing new, right? He's been there and done that in different places. Mr. Ingram himself told me that Brandon Ingram has never, ever wanted to be traded in his career. He never wanted to be traded from the Lakers. He didn't want to be traded from the Pelicans, actually, guys. But he has been traded. And you know what? He's just a dutiful guy that just, if he's at that place, he's honoring it. And he's not really a malcontent. He's not somebody who's going to come into Bobby and say, I want to get traded from here. If he wouldn't do it to New Orleans, he's not going to do it to us. And that was because this conversation I had with Mr. Ingram was basically was like, your son is a level like Kawhi for our team. And unlike Kawhi, I feel like we're going to get him for multiple years. And this is what Mr. Ingram said to me. He said, "Oh, my son's never asked to be traded. And he if the team's treating him right, he'll be there for long term." So that's what we got to understand with Brandon, guys. He's not trying to leave Toronto. And even if some of our people in our fan nation are shitty, he's not listening to them. He knows there's real ones like us out there too. Yeah, and that instills confidence. I mean, that whole Kawhi thing was bullshit. 1 year, one and done, but a championship and a finals run, that's fantastic. We're going to have more years with Brandon in the future. I'm telling you right now, because he's not trying to go anywhere, and he's on a multiple year contract extension. And that's the difference right there. So we may have a couple years, a nice window to compete for championships with Ingram around. I'm telling you, I would love for him to play for the Raptors for the rest of his career and retire with us. And that could happen too, guys. That could happen. Let's see. Nako's saying this. Infamous is coming in clear. Yeah, it's good that he's came through on the phone. I don't know. It's weird in here. It's like this building's a bunker or something like that. Adriana's trying to call me to wake me up to come to do the show. She does that every morning, y'all, just so y'all know. Every morning, Adriana calls me around 8:30 to 9 and wakes me up. Says, "Wake up, Raptors freak. You got to do your show." It's like, and the phone's not ringing because I'm in the bunker somehow. I don't know what's going on in here. Maybe I should do the show outside. I'll take the table outside and I'll sit outside like John Cleese on Monty Python's Flying Circus. And I'll say, "And now for something completely different." And I'm just like sitting outside in the snow, like at a table with my mic and everything. Yeah, that'd be goofy, man. But I'd have good cell phone reception, I'm sure. Shaq Lindsay saying Dick hasn't got the opportunity to start with RJ out. I think that in some ways this is protecting him for his confidence. In some ways you're right. Everybody's kind of gotten a chance. I know Jacoby's been really good on the defensive end, but in some ways he's not scoring enough to be a starter right now. And if they switched him out for Oshai or Grady right now, I wouldn't be unhappy because in some ways, I don't think any of them are doing overly better than each other. And maybe Jacoby was for a second there, but not in the last two games. And maybe it's like kind of like you blow in the wind towards whoever's kind of the hot one that's doing the right things at that moment. And right now it's Oshai. Oshai had the best game out of the three of them yesterday. So if I was Darko, you want to reward guys for having good games, try and get them to get right. Well, Oshai should get that starter spot next because in some ways the three of them are equal to me. And you can pick whichever one is doing the right things at that time and reward them. Say, you know what, Oshai, great job. You were the only plus against the Knicks. You're starting against the Trailblazers tonight. I'd like Darko to do that. And it's like, and it's not just set. It's like, wow, you got to go out there and produce and do that. And then you get to start again, because Grady, he could have started one of these games for sure. He could have started last night instead of Jameson. He could have, yeah. Kenrick's here. Good to see Kenrick, Chronic Art, James. Y'all, tattoo artists and GTA. If y'all need any Raptors ink, Kenrick's your guy. He's done a lot of Raptors tattoos. So look up Kenrick, Chronic Art, James on social media. He can help you out with ink if you like getting the tattoos. My wife noticed that the team looks a bit tired the last 4 games. I think they need Yak and RJ. They allow everyone to get back to natural positions. Hope we find another big. Yeah, I'm with that. I think that they are a little tired right now. This is crazy. They just had a month and they played 15 games in the month of November. These games were like every other day, quite a few back-to-backs. It's just a very grinding schedule, and it's not going to get any slower. This month is just as crazy with another 15-game month. And how many days are in a month? There's 30 days in a month, right? Something like that, 30, 31. Well, these guys are playing every other day, and it is a grind. They haven't got any really good, like, long breaks. There's a lot of one day on, one day off, and there's back-to-backs involved in that too. So there is definitely probably some fatigue in that. And like we said, if RJ's there, he can carry one corner of the table, and it's easier to carry with Emmanuel, Brandon, and Scotty and RJ at each corner of the table. If you just have one guy trying to carry the table on his back, like Giannis has to for Milwaukee, that's a much more arduous task to do that. Facts. Yeah, facts by Kenrick's wife. Blackout saying this, we are on the same page today, Lex. They need to pass the ball more. That's what I expect Darko to work on with the team on the off days. RJ being out requires a big adjustment. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's why our bench is suffering, is that our guys are not getting them involved, and that's what the point guard's job is to do. And I mean, I'll point to the 2 point guards, but also to Scotty and also to Brandon. Those are the 4 guys that need to do this and get this more going. Scotty's a more natural guy that's going to get other people involved in the way he does things, but Brandon needs to be passing out the double team faster and accurately to guys that are ready to get open shots. And yeah, in some ways, Neil, piggybacking on what you were saying yesterday, Darko should get them organized and more right to be conducive for this to be successful. Yes, I will say that. Shaq Lindsay saying they are playing battle over Dick just last night. And I think it, in some ways, like I said, Battle didn't play against Charlotte and Dick did. So they wanted an absolutely fresh out the box player in the starting lineup. And in some ways, they didn't utilize him right for that opportunity. But yeah, Battle didn't play a single minute against the Hornets, right? And so he was rested completely for the Knicks game. That's the theory right there, right? Chloe saying this, BI plateauing is a good thing. I think this will make BI buy in to play more off ball and go back to Darko ball. And off ball BI will make his life a whole lot easier. You know, if I could be a fly in the wall in their tape session, watching these last 2 games, it'd be very intriguing to see how they interact and how they talk about this. We've seen Darko is a very fiery, no-nonsense guy. Some people thought he was a pushover because he's so chummy and personable and everybody likes him, that he's too nice to the players. No, he's not. In fact, there was a game last week, the game I went to, the Indiana game, I saw him bitching out Sandro for missing a defensive assignment at the game, and he really wasn't being nice. He was really laying into him, saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. And Sandro was like, you know, I'm sorry, coach, I'm sorry. And he's being very hard on him. It'd be very interesting to see, you know, because Darko can't mince words. He's the coach. He's got to set the tone. How does he go about talking to Brandon about what he wants to see differently from him? And how does he do it in front of the team or by himself? You know, in some ways, he's got to get something different from Ingram from these last 2 games. And how does he massage or talk to him or figure that out? I mean, if Kendrick Perkins is saying that Darko showed up in Oklahoma City like 15 years ago, and he was yelling at James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant as an assistant coach at that time under Billy Donovan, you know, imagine just like how he is as a head coach and getting that ability to do that. And, you know, Scotty, as the franchise player, he wants accountability. He wants everybody to play a certain level. And he is also doing things like Darko would and talking to the guys and saying, we expect more from you. And in some ways, you got to do this. And Scotty can only do that if he walks the walk himself. And he is. But like, you know, on the bench, I'm sure Scotty's talking to his teammates and saying, you guys, you can't do this. You have to play better, so-and-so. You can't miss your assignment. You know, that the accountability is important for his team, and especially after these last 2 games. So let's see if these guys are listening, if they'll respond to the coach and people that are telling them, you know what, you can't do this. This can't go on. We've got to change back to what we were doing before and get it right. That's right. Reggie's saying this. Mitchell Robinson feasted, man. When the Raptors don't have a capable big, they lose. It's that simple. You know, in some ways, they threw Colin in the fire as one of our bigs last night, and he needed this. This was a learning game for him. In some ways, Colin thrived and had success, but also he saw like, wow, this is like the NBA, and this is the level of skill, size, and strength, and this is what MSG feels like too. So there's a little bit of a deer in headlights, along with the natural talent and strength flourishing in the NBA game. But let's forgive Colin Murray-Boyles if he doesn't know all the tricks of the trade to absolutely stop a veteran player like Mitchell Robinson. Give him a couple years. I'll bet you he will be able to negate him in a couple years. That's what I say right there. G saying RJ makes all of their lives easier. I said it before, but he has no play set for him. So his cutting and getting to the basket puts less stress and structure on others. He gets his own. Yep. Godspeed, Mr. Barrett, to get your knee exactly right and back out there. I don't think he's that hurt. And I really hope he's going to get to play in the next New York game. I really, really do. We're going to probably hear about RJ around Wednesday or Thursday, guys, is what I'm thinking. Reggie's saying Toronto really, really needs to address this. It's a big issue. Yeah, the rebounding. Yeah, well, it's a team effort thing. And in some ways, they're tired after a second night of a back-to-back. That's part of the factoring in this. It's not totally their real legitimate effort. And in some ways, I mean, we can look at one little snapshot of one game And if we don't factor in all the factors that they're on a back-to-back, they're against a team that's super aggressive and physical and going after rebounds. There's a lot to the formula that gets us what we got last night. We can overreact and say this is a huge, huge problem, but it may be as simple as they need to come into film and say, look, we got to recommit to boxing out and making sure we get the rebounds. It may be as simple as that. We can't act like this is a huge, huge problem. I mean, it was last night, sure, but that was one game, that scenario. And we could show up against Portland and be a badass rebounding team on Tuesday. And it's not as big as a problem as you think, is what I'm saying. So you can make it a molehill, but this is a basic thing that a lot of basketball teams go through, is sometimes getting out rebounded, getting exposed. And sometimes it's just because they didn't do effort or position or box out right. And it's not actually that we just need a whole new player, guys. I'm telling you right now, we do need a new player and we want that. But it's what I'm saying too. Let's see. Black Mamba's saying this. Teams are picking up on BI attacking from the left wing. A lot of Raptors were being set on that side. Darko should start BI closer to the hoop. I like that. A low post setup for him is nice. Of course, there's a lot of physicality being allowed in the NBA this year. They're letting him play a lot more like FIBA. So even getting an anchor on low post positioning is risky at times because people are pushing people out of the way and it's a turnover all of a sudden. It's like you're throwing the ball to BI closer to the basket and he just gets pushed a little bit and all of a sudden it's a turnover. So it's a little risky to set up in the low post these days if you don't have a good anchor of strength to hold your position to call for the ball. So, I mean, I like this idea. And I think if we could do this safely to get the ball inside to him there, that's a fantastic idea. But that's part of the problem with why it's not happening is it's a lot more difficult to throw into the low post than even say the old 80s or 90s NBA, because it's a very different kind of game right now. And it's way more physical the last 2 years. They really are trying to be more FIBA right now with the whistles and the refs to a degree. So that takes away a lot of the kind of low post stuff, especially for somebody who may be a little bit slight of build with their strength in some ways. It's a tough place to play down there in some ways. But I think the big problem that they showed, and Kia Nurse showed this before the game, is the spacing's been all wrong with Brandon around him and where they're going to and where they should be for him to find them to pass out of the double team. That's been all screwed up lately. And they got to fix that. RJ will fix it. That's right. Fiercely saying this. Good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Main takeaway is we need a backup big, but definitely BI is a target as he's being double teamed quite a lot. And that means he needs to pass out of it sooner and, not try and force shots. And guys, if you guys are freezing out particular Raptors, stop doing it. Stop doing it. Give them the ball. Black Mama's saying this, that speed up is forcing him to turn the ball over, and it's not his fault. I agree with this. They're guarding him very difficultly. They are for sure. BI on the nail as a facilitator and shooter. Start him as at the nail. Eliminate the dribbles. I mean, that's ideal if you can get the ball into him. One of the problems is I don't feel like some of the Raptors are very good at the entry pass to the low post. And some of it's they rush it, and the guy hasn't actually established their position and strength at the low post. They just try and throw it really quick. Or sometimes they'll throw it and the guy will be fronting and it's just a turnover. They throw it and the guy in the front will just grab it and they'll run the other way. It's a risky pass in today's NBA. That's part of it. It really is a risky pass. I agree with you. I'm not trying to come down on Brandon in any harsh ways. In some ways, this is very much constructive criticism. I understand just as how important he is and how much he's going to be so good for the Raptors more and more. And every player is not perfect all the time. And there's an ebb and flow to productivity and success. So I'm just saying the easy things that I could see him fixing are being more apt to pass out of the double immediately as soon as he gets the ball, because I feel like he's holding it a little too long and letting the defense really start smothering him. And then that pass is just really difficult. And that's where the turnovers are happening. So if he can read the defense coming at him faster and finding the open person faster without letting the defense absolutely cover him up, that could be part of what helps him too right now. Yeah. I like him getting the ball at the high post. I like him getting the ball in the middle of the lane. I like him getting all kinds of different places. If we get him in the low post, that'd be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. And maybe Darko can set up some play sets and schemes to do that. Kaloy saying this, I, for one, welcome the setbacks. I'm curious on how this group will respond to losses, and we shall see against Portland. Yeah, we'll be back in the friendly confines of our own arena, And well, hopefully the guys will get good vibes going because they're back, is what I'll say right there. And Neil's saying this. Actually, the shed to Grady pass works if it's shed to Scotty, because Scotty is taller, stronger, and has the length to pull it off with the trailers on him. IQ was the better choice because he was unguarded. Yeah, and that's what Jack said in the game. Is he went for the home run ball where he could have had an intermediary pass to IQ, who was open on the right, and that would have been better decision. But Shed was very aggressive. He was overly aggressive to a detriment, not actually playing right. So it's weird. He in some ways needed to dial it down out of everybody on the court last night. Just a little bit, Jamal. Just a little bit. And you might have been right. Yeah. Mischief saying this. Raptors need Yaka Pirtle and RJ Barrett back for the in-season tournament. 2 starters out. Yeah. Yak will definitely be playing in that New York game. Hopefully, knock on wood. And RJ Barrett should hopefully be back by then. Hopefully. We'll see. I mean, it's not a break. It's a sprain. And that, he's been out for a little bit already. And hopefully, he's probably circling that game to be one. I think RJ's not trying to miss that game. He'd love to play in that game against New York with all the things that are on the line with that game. Oh, yeah, he wants to. He probably really wanted to play in the game last night, too, sitting on the bench watching it with his sparkly necklace. Yeah, his chain. Let's see. Kaloy saying this. Hey, everybody, click the like button. Let's boost Lex so a lot more Raps fans see the show. I am killing it right now, y'all. Everybody has recently subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you guys. I've had a huge boom in subscriptions. If you're a common NBA fan, not really a Raptors fan, but you enjoy basketball talk. If you are a Raptors fan, you've come around because we're winning more and you're voracious for more Raptors content. Well, this is your place for a daily dose every single day. If you've ever wanted a true Raptors program for 2 hours where we talk solely on the Raptors, this is your channel right here. And the streak is unbroken, over 1,500 days. Basically, I've been doing this show since Scotty Barnes has played for the Raptors. And I have not missed a single day. My streak is unbeaten and continued at almost 1,550 streams days in a row. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Kaloy. And everybody who's joined the channel recently, thank you for your subscription and your time. And I appreciate that you find value in what I do. All right, we got King in the house. To the points, King is here. He's saying, what up, Freak Nation? Raps got exposed for not having a true big. Fouls were ticky-tacky, but the show goes on. There weren't any fouls. What are you talking about? Thanks to you that joined me on the live streams. Give a dunk to Mo for being a mod now. Okay, all right. All right, Brian. All right, whatever. That's fine. All right, we'll keep going. Blackhawks saying this. Jacoby shoots well from the corner, but not enough opportunities came for corner shots. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. We saw Oshai get a corner look for a second, but he shied away from pulling the trigger. Last year, if Oshai got any kind of decent look from the corner, he was bombing it and making it because he had really good confidence from starting a lot last year. But he had it for a split second at one point last night, and he passed it up and moved it around the horn instead. Yeah, those are signs that these guys aren't exactly right with their confidence on their three-point shots, for sure, for sure. All right, let's see. Seymour saying this. Lex, which City jersey did you get, Barnes or Barrett? I'm getting mine today after work. Whichever player you have, I'm going to get the other, or Ingram. Tough choices. This is the thing, Seymour. I have 3 jerseys now that I wear, and I have all 3 of them now. I have a Barrett, a Barnes, and an Ingram. And I have the Barrett. The Barrett is the one from last year, the Vince Carter logo City Edition last year. The Ingram one is this year's City Edition with the Earn Not Given black and red white jersey that we're putting on this year. We've worn once against Charlotte. And then the Barnes jersey is the chevron with the red jersey with the black chevron. So those are the 3 jerseys I've got. Your decision is yours. Get the Barnes in the new City or get the Barrett in the new City Edition is what I would say. If you want to get the City Edition from last year, that's a great jersey too, commemorating Vince Carter's retirement ceremony. That's right. Barbarian is here, 667. People need to relax. They are nowhere near beating an OKC tier team for the championship. They're ahead of schedule, but still need to develop more. This is a reality check. And I mean, this is valid. But we don't know, though. This is what I would say. And Barbarian, I'll cite the Pacers from last year as this. How close did the Pacers come to beating the Thunder last year in the finals. It went 7 games, and it was like that close. Now, the Pacers during the season were not that good. They built their team up as the season went on, and they were a totally different team by the playoffs than the ones that we saw when we played them and beat them regularly during the season last year, Indiana with Siakam. So there's a lot of growth that can happen with a team over the months of the season. So we just have to keep watching the Raptors, and we'll just see where they are by the time playoffs come around. They may be really, really freaking good, and you may be like, holy shit, actually, they could maybe beat the Thunder. So let's be open to the possibilities. I see what you're saying. They need to relax. But, man, I'm going to go forward and say pie in the sky. The glass is half full, and I feel like we could grow into this and be absolutely a title contender that is legitimate at the end of the year. Seriously, it doesn't look good right now on a 2-game losing streak, but there's so much time in the season left, and we got to allow them to grow. Thanks for the subscription, Barbarian. And I loved your matches in NWA and WCW back in the day. How's Meng doing? Faces of Fear forever, baby. Let's go. Blackhawk's saying this. The offense is diversified with RJ. With RJ, it was probably easier for Darko to preach the tenets of sharing the ball with 4 primary sources. Yeah, it's the shift of balance is just a little bit off with RJ not out there, because really what they did was when RJ's playing, it's like an every other time down the court kind of thing. Like they'll do like Brandon as every other time down the court, and then they'll do RJ every time down the court. It's kind of like a focus play around that person. They're saying they don't run plays for RJ, but they often let him bring the ball up the court and read the floor. And if he has a drive to the basket, he can do it, but he's also good at passing out when the double team collapses on him. So that's kind of what they were doing is like, all right, we'll alternate Brandon and RJ. It's a balance. Neither one are getting overworked and getting overly tired. So they're more likely to make their shots because there's a balance. When one guy has to take all the shots like Brandon has, well, in some ways you're getting more tired. If he can take a play off where he doesn't have to do all the offensive work, or he's just waiting for RJ to get collapsed on and he's a shooter that's outside to catch the ball, that's how you get that balance. And the shots are better shot percentage because it's more balanced out. It's exactly right. The diversifying of our lineup and our offense is fantastic. Fantastic. All right, let's see. Neil's saying this. Style of play matters, and we got to get back to our style. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I agree. We weren't playing our style these last 2 games. Guardian Transit's back, one of our original Raptor freaks. I'm not sold on Scotty playing the center. More opportunities for injuries. We need a center. I think it's not a good full-time thing, but I think that in certain situations on certain nights, he can do it for a little while. The one thing that was okay about this one is Cat doesn't play like a center. It's like Leo's detracting him in the pregame saying, yeah, Karl Anthony Towns isn't really a center. He's just a 3-point shooter. He loves doing that. I love Leo for that. Leo's so awesome. And the way he disses the gambling stuff on the broadcast is so awesome too. Fight the power, Leo Routens. It's so awesome. That Wilson Chang guy is not your favorite. I know that. But yeah, I think that, Scotty playing center is good just an emergency, but it should not be relied on a regular basis. And the matchup with Cat is a little bit physical, but not super physical player. In some ways, you got to worry about with Cat is sometimes swinging arms, like him hitting around and stuff like that. There was a play last night that was so dirty. So freaking dirty. And it makes me really not like this player a lot. And that's Brunson, man. Brunson had that drive to the basket and Scotty was guarding him and he made the shot. And then his follow through, he came over on purpose. And this is an old trick that NBA players used to do in the 80s and 90s a lot, is if you're the offensive player and you get fouled, you can get a cheap shot on another player. And he did. He swiped at Scotty's face in a very, very unsportsmanlike, dirty way where he basically gouged him in the eyes. If you didn't notice on that drive after Jalen went to the drive, he followed through and he did this on purpose. This was absolutely on purpose. Hit him in the face and scratched him about the face like that. And Scotty was holding his eyes like this. Now, remember, Scotty hit 4 straight threes earlier in the game. He didn't hit any threes after that. It's so dirty. It's such a dirty-ass thing to do. And Brunson absolutely did that shit on purpose. Absolutely did that shit on purpose. Swiping Scott in the face. And it's masked by the fact that he's the offensive player. Scotty did foul him. He got an and one, and he got to hurt Scott too, all in the same play. In some ways, it's very masterful, but it's also extremely dirty, and I have no respect for it. So, yeah, did y'all see that play that I'm talking about? Yeah, that was fucked up, man. That was fucked up. Let's see. All right, where am I here? I'm on Guardian Transit still. We cannot plan fourth quarters with BI isolation every game. We cannot play fourth quarters like that. Teams are prepared for this. Yeah, we need more diversification, and RJ provides that for sure. Yeah, we don't want to be a one note kind of band. We have to have more than one note we play, and it can't just be like, let's play off of Brandon and do everything out of Brandon. That's not what's working when we were successful. In some ways, we needed to do more to make sure everybody else is getting their time and getting their shares, because that's the problem right now. It seems like things are too heavily weighted to run through Brandon, and other people are not doing well for it, is what I'm saying. I think, yeah. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying, I hope the weed not slowing him down. BI, stay off the good stuff. I mean, I don't want to joke about that kind of stuff, because I mean, I got my own weed here. You know, I got my own little weed things here and stuff like that. But, you know, there's a time and a place. I don't smoke before I go on the show, Brandon. So don't smoke before the game, I guess, and smoke afterwards. But yeah, I don't smoke before I do the show. I do after it, but I try to stay, just wake up and go straight to the show, and no smoking weed before the show, guys. That's right. And Brandon should have the same rule. Guardian Transit saying this, we had absolutely no evident offensive rebounding last night. The boys all pulled back from the key after chucking a shot. You know, being aggressive to go get offensive rebounds, we kind of took away from doing that. We did that at the beginning of the year, and it wasn't successful. It was part of the reason why we went 1-4 at the beginning, is we were crashing the boards way heavy, and our transition defense suffered for it. So Darko switched that, and we weren't crashing the boards as heavy anymore. I don't think getting offensive rebounds is a huge priority for us. The priority is stopping the other team from getting offensive rebounds. We can get offensive rebounds through Colin like he's doing last night. That's fantastic. And the way Murray Boyles was playing last night is how I want him to play. I want him to absolutely just be a monster on the boards, and just that stuff, what he was doing last night, I want to see more of. That's the role I want him in, because we need that really bad. And he did it so well. And that was not an easy team to do that against either. So I would say that, yeah. Blackhawks saying this, Grizzlies not giving up Zach. However, you can make an offer for Thomas Sorber from OKC. OKC has too many first-round picks, so they need to make room. We can build Sorber up. Once again, I'll tell you guys, let's not make trade speculations to acquire rookie contract people, because rookie contracts are always very good value, and these teams are not trying to trade good value rookies. Zach Edey is not anywhere near a possibility for the Raptors yet, but he will be at some point. Trust me. There'll be a crossroads at some point in his career, like RJ, that may see him come back and be on Toronto. We'll have to see. But these are not targets that are realistic, Neil, because they're not available. Let's just put it that way. You can talk about Thomas Sorber being available. That's not true, though, because they have to sort him out and give a good look at him. He's a rookie. He just barely showed up. There's no way Oklahoma City's trying to trade him right now. So, once again, you got to start talking about fourth, fifth-year players around where Sandro's in his career, Day'Ron Sharp, and none of these rookie contracts. You guys bring them up, and I'm like, it's a waste of time, because these teams aren't trying to trade rookie contracts that are a great value for what they're doing. That's a big part of how you build your team right now, is you got to get supremely talented rookies, pay them the rookie scale, and then hope they go with your really big-time players in your franchise, and that's how you win. That's how you win. You have to have a good crop of young guys that you're paying cheaper to have a fully fleshed out good NBA team right now. And these guys are super valuable. And that's why, you don't bring any more rookie contract guys as trade opportunities, because it's not happening. I'm telling you right now. The only thing I will say about the last night's game is we didn't run the Knicks off the perimeter, and that cooked us. That was something we didn't do right at the beginning. They were not getting to McBride right. And then Clarkson, when he came in, and these guys' threes absolutely gave them the huge lead right at the beginning of the game. Yeah, but we recommitted to that, and the 3 points were well guarded, much more well guarded as the game went on. We'll say that. The adjustment was made. Neil saying this, Battle didn't lose confidence. He was run off the line, so he tried to work in the paint, get back to using all movement for getting open shots. I still think the right play is you put Dick and Battle on the outside, and you have a guy like RJ or Scotty or Emmanuel driving and kicking. You collapse that defense into the lane, and you get that ball out to them, and they have wide threes. So many other teams are doing this successfully in different places. The Raptors have done it successfully at times this year, but for some reason they've gone away from it more recently. So drive and kick and collapse that defense and get that ball out to Battle Dick formation, and we'll be in way better shape right there. Randolph's here. Good morning, Randolph Phillips. So many names in the chat this morning. We are very, very blessed with so many Raptor Freaks. I appreciate everybody being here this morning. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks family. Power will reveal just who you are. Power in the hands of a fool is like a loaded gun in the hand of a child. It's crazy. You know, they say the people that want to be in power are the people that shouldn't be in power because they thirst for power and control over people, and they're often not for good reasons. You know, people that don't really want the power are probably the better leaders because in some ways they're thrust into it and they're kind of like genuine about it and pure about it. It's true. You know, power can corrupt. And sometimes you could get power in your life and you change as a person and not in a good way. You know, it's tough. It's tough to handle responsibility and power. And in some ways, some people are just not very good at it. And they're absolutely ruining the world because they have that power. Blessings to the Phillips family and all the Raptor Freak families. I appreciate you, Randolph, being here once again with me. Neil saying this, you address the BI struggles by diversifying the offense. Exactly. You're exactly right. This allows BI to better his efficiency organically. Let's not push BI to what he is not at this time. Totally agree. I think that in some ways, Brandon's smart enough as a basketball junkie and a gym rat and somebody who just lives, breathes, and understands basketball. He's got to understand that part of how he's thrived as a Raptor so far is the diversification of knowing that everybody's got to get some, and he will get his, and he'll get his share, and he will have an easier time getting his share when it's like that. So I don't think that there's any issue with Brandon wanting to step back with his touches and his shots. It's just that we need to get the personnel around him to get it back. And Barrett missing is a big part of it. But let's not get it twisted. Brandon wants to play the best he can. And, you know, if he has to lessen some of his looks to help the whole overall team, it'll help his efficiency in general, and his stats will look way better. He can do more with less. Because, see, part of the problem is he's getting a lot of volume right now, and he's not efficient, and it's hurting the team. It's hurting the team right now. Yeah. Let's see. Randolph saying, Lex, RJ represents 16 to 25 points. Yeah. If someone stepped up and offered that, the games would be different, in my opinion. I would love that. It would be so easy, but it's ambiguous about just one individual stepping up. If it was Grady, you know, historically last year, Grady was the guy who stepped in for RJ. If Grady could have been that guy this year who stepped in the starting lineup and just didn't miss a beat by scoring 20 points a game for the Raptors, that would have been ideal. If it was Jacoby, that'd be great. If it was Oshai, it'd be great. Any of those three. But in some ways, I feel like the three of them kind of cloud it and muddle it. And now, right now, we're getting three guys playing that they're all kind of not effective. I would rather bench two of them and make one of them really effective and do the role for RJ in some ways. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Neil saying this, BI is not a low post player. You want him to expand his attack and stop giving it to him in the same spot early in the clock. Move the ball to at least 2 or 3 players before giving it to BI. Totally agree that the ball movement needs to be better. And I don't know if he can be a low post player. I don't know if that's exactly true. He can be a low post player. It just depends on the situation and reading that specific court formation and spacing and the personnel who's involved. There may be situations where you don't want to post him up in the low post because of who he's up against and how the spacing is. But there may very well be great opportunities that you want to low post him immediately right away. I agree with that. Neil's saying this, in life, it is better to try and fail than not try at all. And it depends. But yeah, that's generally right, I guess. It's generally right. But that can be wrong. Fiercely saying this, sending the team positive vibes and made those struggling with confidence regain it. Yeah, they'll be fine. We're going to get this together. This was just a rough weekend, a rough little 2-game road trip. It was just a little rough. And that's all. The Charlotte game sucked. And that one I hate more than the New York game. The game last night in some ways was entertaining. I wish they had closed the gap a little bit better at the end of the game, but alas, they did not. They lost by 21 points, and that is that. It's just how it is. We got to accept it, and well, we'll move forward. And next time we play the Knicks, that's the one that really counts. Let's kick their ass then. That's right. Trevor's saying we lose 2 games, and everybody goes haywire. We are still better than 12 teams in the East. The problem is the internet allows everybody's voice to be amplified and seen. So all these crazy idiots that are out there, they have a platform to be seen. In the past, you never got to see any of these idiots because they were just off in their own world and you didn't see them because no internet, right? So in some ways, that's part of the problem. In some ways, I cut that noise out. I don't even look at it. Well, let's go look at the noise then. All right, we'll go look at Raptors Reddit real quick. What are they saying on here right now? They're giving points to Scotty Barnes, trying to help win the game last night. They're posting people they want, like Daniel Gafford and Day'Ron Sharp. I see both of their pictures on the Raptors Reddit right now. Let's see what else. This guy's saying this, getting this out there before the Doomers come out of their basements. I love this. He's calling them the Doomers. Second night on back-to-back after an overtime game. No Yak, no RJ on the road against projected contenders shooting lights out. Save your Doom post for your draft, boys. I love that. See, this is the right kind of action right here is the right thing. Yeah, somebody here is saying what we've been just saying. The defensive game plan is out on BI. Yeah. Somebody's saying we need nickname ideas for Jamal Shed. I think we have them. Steady Sheddy is good. Yeah, you didn't come up with that. This guy's trying to say he came up with the name Steady Sheddy. Anyways, I came up with the name Steady Sheddy. You didn't come up with that. We've been calling him Steady Sheddy for a year. I've called him Shed Van Vliet. I think that's apropos since he's wearing the 23. And we had a Red Van Vliet. We had a Fred Van Vliet. Well, now we have a Shed Van Vliet. I've always liked that nickname for him. People that don't like Van Vliet don't like it, though. Anyway, that's enough of Raptors Reddit. There's some goofy stuff there, as always, on Raptors Reddit. All right, let me do the ref report real quick for 9:05 today. That's right. Raptors 9:05 are playing the Long Island Nets tonight in Long Island, and we got Marcy Williams as the crew chief. I actually have her profile. It's number 76. She's in her second season as a non-staff official for the NBA. She's from Livingston, New Jersey, so she's going to be refereeing, not quite close to home. Her favorite TV show is Girlfriends. Her favorite movie is Brown Sugar. She listens to Beyonce. Her favorite book is A New Life, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. So she likes Eckhart Tolle. Marcy Williams is getting it. I'm telling you right now that her favorite book is one of my favorite books, A New Earth. Y'all go buy it. Seriously. If you struggle in life for being happy, Eckhart Tolle can help you. If you don't want to read it, go follow him on YouTube. His channel is really good too. He can help you with enlightenment and helping you to find peace in different ways in your life. And it's not in a religious way. It's in a very secular way for any person from any path of religion. So yeah, New Earth. I'm really impressed with Marcy Williams for that. Her favorite meal is soul food. She likes Apple Music. She most likes to visit Africa. You need to talk to Masai. Bucket list, travel for a year, and hidden talent is bowling. Marcy Williams is in her second season as a non-staff official. She refereed 2 NBA preseason games as a non-staff official in 2024-2025. The rest of the refs in Long Island today, Josh Reed, number 28, is the referee, and Jessica Christopher is the umpire, number 21. That's a new name I haven't seen before for refereeing. So there's your refs for Raptors 9:05, Long Island Nets tonight. They'll be going for their 8th straight victory, undefeated so far in this G League season. It's a great watch, guys. So if you are able to watch the game tonight, it's very enjoyable to watch Elijah Martin, Chucky Hepburn, Jonathan Mobo, and AJ Lawson play some basketball for Andrew Jones. So check it out tonight, guys. Check it out. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Trevor's saying we lose 2 games and everybody goes haywire. We're still better than 12 teams in the East. Yeah. And honestly, even though the Knicks are percentage points above us, we're still like right there next to them. We're pretty much right there. They're going to say, oh, we're above you in the Atlantic Division. Well, let's give some more this week. Let's see what happens coming up. We'll have to see. Kaloy saying legendary Battle Dick formation, stuff of legends. It's a nice look. It spreads the floor, but they're not utilizing when it's out there. And that's the thing. If you're going to have Jamison Battle and Grady Dick on the floor together, you better be shooting threes, is what I'm saying. You better be getting 3-point shots. Neil's saying this. OKC has 4 first-round picks this draft and no expiring contracts. There is an opportunity with OKC because they don't have space for all of them unless they make trades. Well, they're not going to do it in the middle of the trade of the season because, I mean, why would they do this, Neil? Let's just Winders this, okay? They just drafted Thomas Sorber like 4 months ago. Okay. He's been hurt. He's barely even played. Why would they go to the trouble of drafting him just to trade him without even looking at him? That doesn't make any sense. That just doesn't make any sense. Once again, I dissuade, even if it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, talking about trading guys on rookie contracts is just not realistic unless they're a throw in for a big, huge deal with a bigger name. Like when Miami traded Precious to us when we traded Lowry to Miami. That was part of sweetening the deal and that kind of thing. And that happened then because we got the value of Precious on his rookie contract at that time. Then it can happen like that if big names are involved. But if there's no big names involved, nobody's trying to trade no rookies. Let's just put it that way. Chloe's saying this. The thing is, the Battle Dick needs to be better on defense so it's viable to play them without losing on defense. Yeah. In some ways, it's like Jack said in the broadcast, the offense being good helps the defense and vice versa. So, like, in some ways, we're in a bad place where, like, the offense wasn't right and the defense looks worse, and then Grady's exposed more. But if we're winning and we're playing good on offense, Grady getting exposed on defense is harder to do. So there's a little bit of it going hand in hand with each other. All right, let's keep going on the show. We got the Instagram stories. We got Serge Ibaka DJing last night, guys. Serge Ibaka was at a big rave last night or maybe 2 nights ago. And he's at the DJ table, and he's got the people going crazy in the crowd. Alessandro's friend, Alessandro's gone back to Italy, guys. He's traveling back. He appreciate everybody for being so nice to him on his trip to Toronto and being in North America. So safe travels to Alessandro. I hope you're having a great trip. And thanks for coming to Toronto and seeing the city. And I hope you get the plans that you have happen for you, man. I really do. Zach Edey, speaking of Zach Edey, he's celebrating a Grizzlies win over the Sacramento Kings. And there's the big man, number 14. I dream of him in a Raptors jersey someday, and I do believe that could very well happen at someday. Chris Boucher celebrating Peyton Pritchard getting 42 points this weekend in a game. His Oregon Duck teammate is now his Celtics teammate. And also he's posting Denzel Washington on this thing, and it says, when you reach that level where silence starts giving you answers. I'll bet you that's what's going on now. Is like he's not doing anything with the Celtics, and they're not even talking to him at this point. This is crazy. When you reach that level where silence starts giving you answers. So there's bad communication on the Celtics with Coach Joe and Chris's place on it. That's different than Darko. Even if Chris wasn't playing for the Raptors, Rojakovic was always talking to him and keeping him in the loop about what's going on. Sounds like they're not even telling Chris what's going on at this point in Celtic land. That's terrible. That's horrible. See, and y'all Raptors fans thought Chris had it bad in Toronto. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's see. Norman Powell is giving a starting 5 giveaway to Miami Heat fans. The winner will be announced on the 4th. I don't know what's exactly going on there. And also Norman Powell Elite Team were champions of the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest. So good job, kids, representing old Playoff Powell, a Raptors champion. There's Colin Murray Boyles walking up the long ramp at Madison Square Garden yesterday with his coach, Coach Darko, going over some pointers, walking up the ramp to get in there. AJ Lawson posting a city scene of, I don't even know where that is. Is that Toronto? Yeah, that's Toronto. He's showing some stuff, talking about basketball. I'm not sure what this clip is exactly. It's some sort of film. So I don't know. They're talking about basketball or something. Once again, Fred VanVleet's new podcast, Unguarded. Y'all need to check this out. He's actually got a thing up where he's asking for people that want to be on the show. Maybe I should do his show, y'all. I should submit a question to him and be like, hi, I'm the Raptors freak. And Fred, I got a question for you. And I'll ask him a question on his show. But y'all can try and be on his show. There's a form to fill out. If you follow Fred VanVleet TV or Fred VanVleet himself, you can have access to this form. And who knows, maybe you'll appear on Fred's new podcast, Unguarded. Yeah, there he is at practice with Amen Thompson, teaching him some stuff. And Jabari Smith talking about how Fred's such a good leader. Pascal Siakam has returned with the Sunday banger as of yesterday. And he had like one with a chorus, a choir in it. So, yeah, y'all check out Siakam's weekly segment, the Sunday Banger, where he plays a song that he enjoys. And he asks you if you know this banger. Do you know this one? Do you know this one? This one has a choir. Why not? Lloyd is at Madison Square Garden last night because he lives in New York, goes to school there. And he showed up to watch his good friend Scott Barnes play in the Mecca And it looks like Lloyd had some seats that were pretty far back, but he was at least in the house watching the Raptors and the Knicks play last night. Let's see who else we got. Leo Routens is showing off the new iPad with Kia Nurse and Kate Burness from the TSN broadcast last night. They're trying something new out, and you didn't get to try it, Leo. These women are gatekeeping you from using the new Telestrator iPad, and Leo's just like, come on, let me use it. And then they were toying with him. You were like, Leo, we'll let you use it next break. And then they're like, not. They're so mean. They're bullying Leo about this, man. It's so mean in some ways. There's Matt Devlin showing the iconic walk up the MSG ramp when he's walking in. And we'll just finish it up with Gary Trent Jr. with some Bucks highlights, hitting some shots for them. And Milwaukee's also celebrating Giannis's 21,000 points, career points for Giannis. Yeah, very, very cool. There's your Instagram stories update on what's going on in Raptors world and the world of Instagram. All right, let me keep going. Straight goods on goods. We're not doing Canadian goods this week right now. We're going to do an Italian good today, guys. You know, beverages, a lot of them will be Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Fuck those companies. American corporations that are huge. What can you drink if you're not going to drink Coke or Pepsi? Well, there's other companies out there that you could buy. There's even a couple Canadian pep pop companies, but I'm going to go with an Italian one real quick, and that's San Pellegrino, guys. San Pellegrino is an imported Italian drink that you see all over the place. But if you buy these, you're supporting the country of Italy and Canada for coming in here. And in some ways, that's great. So San Pellegrino, I got the orange and the lemon here. And I'm just saying, y'all, so be smart about how you spend your money in this world today, especially with tariffs and all this bullshit. And let's keep it in the Canadian economy. And, well, San Pellegrino is an Italian import, but it's better than buying Pepsi or Coke products. Let's just put it that way. All right, keep on moving. We had our fantasy week end up this past Sunday, yesterday. And we'll go over the winners for the week. It looks like Nins beat Logical Raptors Fanatic. Kaz won against James. We got former WNBA champion Meredith winning over Omari. And a huge matchup of the week, Jason Dukes defeated Amit and he went from second place in the league to sixth place with this loss to Jason Dukes. Also, MJ lost to HC. Cool Cat lost to James. We also had a win for Andrew over Bryce, and I defeated Kareem this week to put him at 0-6. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's a new week for fantasy. Get your lineup straight. We got the new matchups for week 7. So figure out who you're playing and get your lineup set in the Yahoo Raptors Freak Fantasy League. So if you don't play your lineups, well, you ain't gonna win if you don't set it up, right? You ain't gonna win if you don't set it up. All right, let's keep going. Do we have any birthdays today? No, we don't. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the classic card. We're running quick to the end of the show, which is fine. We're at over 2 hours and stuff. So, all right, let me see what I got. Okay, yeah, we'll do this one. It's a little darker in here. I left the lights off to see. All right, here you go. No reflection, hopefully. I'm trying not to get a reflection. Full name answer, get the classic card. It's a 50-point card. It's not that hard. Let me see. Is that better without the reflection right there? That's right, Slug DZ. King of the Classic card is here to collect today. 50 points on the Kevin Love card for Slug DZ. Let me write that in real quick. Yeah, Kevin Love. Love on the first day of December. And Slug DZ is the guy. All right, let's see. 50 points. All right. And I guess I'll do a wrap-up real quick. I guess I did the stars of the game. You know what? Let me give a little shine to the Knicks real quick on their side of the box score, since I didn't really look at that. Of course, Josh Hart was described by Darko as the best player on the court last night. Very gritty player. You know, it is really true that he just fits that team. In some ways, he was a player that kind of bounced around the league. He used to play for the Bobcats, guys. And he didn't really find his place until New York, and he really fits this place. And it is the right place for him to be. It is true. Organization and opportunity are important for an NBA player. And, yeah, he really fits it to a T. So great game by Josh Hart, 8 of 12 from the field, 20 points, 4 of 7 from 3 with 12 rebounds, 7 assists. 3 steals and 4 turnovers, a plus 24. Cat turned it on by the end of the game, got 22 points, 8 of 15 shooting with 8 rebounds and 4 turnovers. And I guess I'll give a little bit of shine to Brunson, even though he's a dirty-ass player. And Miles McBride and Clarkson, very important with their 3-point shooting. Yeah, for that game yesterday. All right, let me see. Anybody else in the comments real quick? Let's just see. Fiercely saying Kevin Love. Yep. And then Wayne Strainer's here showing up right at the end. Morning Raptor Freaks. Illuminating game. Opponents defending 2 and 3 on BI. Darko got the fix. Either Mamu or Jakob should be on the court. Somebody tall for BI to pass out of the group defense. Yeah, we've kind of talked about this show already. This was kind of a main meaty part of a point earlier. I will say this: maybe we should write in Yak, because I'm getting in trouble with Jacoby and Jakob's name. They're just one letter off from each other. You put the E on the end of it, it's Jacoby. It confuses me to a degree. But I agree with you on this. We did talk about this, that these guys got to do better at passing out of double teams, and also just kind of spacing the floor in general has got to be better for the Raptors. All right, I'll wrap it up. The stars of the game for me last night: Colin Murray-Boyles, Emmanuel Quickley, and Ochai Agbaji. Honorable mention to Scotty Barnes. And the referees for the 9:05 game tonight: Marcy Williams, Josh Reed, and Jessica Christopher. Yeah, the Raptors are getting some shine from ESPN this morning for an NBA Cup possibilities of being a team that could possibly play the Thunder better than the other teams, and I like that. Yeah, so let's go. Let's go Raptors. So tomorrow we'll play Portland, and I'll have the preview tomorrow, the refs, the latest lineup news, all the regular preview stuff that I do on this channel. I appreciate everybody watching me this Monday morning, and I hope that you guys have a fantastic start to your week, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go tempo. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about real quick that is in the news, and that is a WNBA. The WNBA has agreed on a 40-day extension to their current CBA agreement. And that means that they're avoiding a lockout as of today. And this also means is the 40 days means it takes them into the new year. And this means that the Toronto Tempo and everything that they need to do with the draft and the expansion draft and everything can get done now. So this is good. This is good. They're going to go on the old CBA still, and they haven't agreed to a new one, but at least there's no work stoppage. And the two sides between the owners and the players will allow for the regular business of the WNBA to go down in the month of December. And this is so crucial for the two expansion teams coming in Portland and Toronto. So the Tempo will get their expansion draft because they agreed upon extension to the collective bargaining agreement in the WNBA. So just a real quick note on that. I want to make sure I said something about that. A little Tempo news right at the end. So, yeah, that's very good. We were worried about things getting all held up because of the labor disagreement. And, well, the agreement last night is good. It's good for that. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Tempo. Let's go 9:05 at 7:30 tonight on YouTube, on the channel. I'll be in the chat. If you want to watch the game with me, you can chat with me on that game. It's fun to chat on the 9:05 chat during games and talk about stuff like that. And I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Let's go Raptors. I'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, I'm out.